And hello, and welcome once again, whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, or whenever you're watching, to our daily Limbus Company ID study and book reading. I see you already have someone in the chat. Hello there, Plushie Yisang. Oh yeah, they did release a new plushie, didn't they? Huh. I do believe my audio is working correctly. Let me just do a little check here. All right. No feedback loop for you. All right, my audio seems to be working correctly. So welcome today to our study. We'll be using one of the Season 1 IDs, the Los Mariachis Jefe Sinclair, also known as one of the IDs that are always warming the bench for Sinclair, which is, because it has a very good passive. Today, we're going to give him a chance to pop out the costume and actually field it on the field instead of just, being on the back lines, shaking the maracas, giving us a little bit of extra damage. And as well, today we're going to be reading the second part of The Stranger by Albert Camus. We stopped at the beginning of part 2, just after Merceau unloaded a revolver on the guy laying on the beach. The guy did pull a knife on him, but again, the guy was just on the beach. In any case, let us get started. Let's see. So, the idea we're going to be using for the solo today, we're not going to go to floor 10 or anything crazy like that, just our usual 5 floors. After all, this is a daily stream. He stands at 291 HP. That is high HP. Holy shit. 2 to 3 speed, incredibly slow, with 63 defense level. He is fatal to slash, but resistant against blunt. Now, let me write that down real quick. So, weak to slash, strong versus blunt. He has an incredible amount of HP. I never realized he had that much HP and a 63 defense level. Now, we'll see if that's going to be handicapped by his offense level on his skill. Hello there, OG5K, how are you doing? He possesses the scene of Slough, Envy, Gloom with a Gloom and Evade. And they're all blunt damage, so we can benefit from blunt gifts. All right. So, Slough, Envy, Gloom, Evade. All blunt damage. Let me just write that down. So we keep that in mind. Very good. Hello there, Acidic Trauma. Welcome to the stream. All right, let's get to his passive. His support passive, we already know very well. It's a very okay passive, but compared to everything else the other Sinclairs had, it's all right. It gives us 10% more damage for allies with the most SP against enemies with lower SP. His active passive now is Jubilo Hedonista. It's a 3 Gloom Resonance. After a successful evade, lowest target threshold by the evade skill power at a 5 times Gloom Resonance % change. So he, on top of having a very high HP, he can lower his stagger threshold to prevent being staggered by evading, which will come quite handy when we are doing focus encounters or certain boss fight. It's not the best, but it's okay, I suppose. So I'm not even going to write that down. It's pretty much automatic if you're using Gloom Resonance. In any case, skill 1, Baile Rolla. It's a 4-2-2 skill. Ooh, an 8 roller. And it gains an extra coin power if the target has 4 sinking, making this a 4-4-4. Only when the enemy has sinking that we have a decently rolling skill 1, but it's still only a 12. And it has a very low offense level. This is a tanky ID, I suppose. It has low speed, high defense level, high HP, and low offense level makes this a tank. Surprising. So, for sinking equals 1 coin power on his skill 1. And naturally, it does inflict for sinking, so we can pop it from itself to chain combos with it. So we can start with 1, assuming we win the clash, and then it inflicts for sinking. Next skill 1 is going to gain coin power. It's going to inflict additional sinking, and it keeps, comboing from that. Skill 2, Danza di Passion. It's a 5-1-1-1, making this a incredibly pathetic rolling 8 power skill with a 57 offense level. If the target has 6 sinking, the skill however gains coin power plus 2. Coin power plus 2 would make this a 5-3-3-3-3, making it a 14 roller, which is still low, but better than nothing. 6 thinking equal true coin power. All right. It generates poise. It generates sinking count, a little bit of it, and it inflicts additional sinking. It is making this one of the earliest examples of a double stat ID. Welcome, Josette. How are you doing? Skill tree, Pinata Party. Ah, this one is especially for you, Josette. I know who you are, and this is the Mexican ID. The only one we have, honestly. Pinata Party, rolls a 19, is a single coin gloom skill with a 57 offense level. If the target SP is below 0, boost the crit chance proportional to the target's SP. If the user has 5+ poise count, he deals 30% additional critical damage. And on hit, he lowers his stagger threshold by 50% of the damage dealt. Seems to be a running theme with this unit about lowering his stagger threshold to prevent being staggered in the first place. So it's a 19 roller, it's really nothing special, has no conditionals other than extra damage on poise count, and if the target has low SP, it's a season 1 ID and a 00, so... As his defense, he has a 15 roller, higher than Faust from our last stream. It a higher defense level. Even if he loses the clash, he reduces damage by a little bit more than his base defense level, and on evade, he gains a poise count. Least we forget, if we get a resonance of 3, he can reduce his stagger threshold even further. Unfortunately for us, he's going solo, so we can't proc resonance that often, and it's evade. Evade can't be used properly on unfocused encounters, only on focused ones, and his skill tree is a gloom, so we are not probably getting a lot out of this. Still, pretty nice. Pretty nice. No, not really nice. Not really nice at all. It's not a very good ID, but I put myself into this road, and now we're gonna go through it. Right. So now that we know that he is a poise stinking ID with blunt damage, slot envy, and gloom, let's get some egos in this boy to fortify him. Unfortunately, with these sin affinities, there is not much he can fuel here, so we're not on the same situation as Faust, where she could endlessly fuel her fluid sac. We could use Cavernous Wailing. We do generate gloom and sloth, but we don't generate the lust necessary for it. And this one gives us protection and the bubble, which is pretty damn good. That's why we're going to take it. As for his staff, we have the options between Lifetimes 2, Hexnail, and Impending Day. Impending Day I know very well because it's a pretty good one. Because if you kill someone with the attack, you gain an attack power-up and healing. So it's pretty damn nice. It's a negative coin as well. If you can use it when we're paralyzed. After enemy count 5 that skill affinity, it gives you a lot of skill ego resources, but not from the ego resources you can generate, so it's okay. We also have Hexnail. The passive for Hexnail is combat start. If this unit has a negative effect, gain 1 clash power up, 1 defense power up, gain 1 protection for every 3 negative effect on self. It's a nice little bundle of buffs if we are under negative effects, which will be most of the time considering this is a solo run. But we don't generate any of the resources for this, so we are entirely dependent on ego gift resource generation here. Inflicts curses, inflicts clash power down, inflicts bind. I rather use Impending Day, honestly, and it fits since it's a Mexican ID, and we have the Aztec calendar as our our ego. For our he level, we have Lantern, Nightshue, and Harmony. Harmony is incredibly powerful. We have seen it used before. Lantern, however, gives us healing and attack weight. It inflicts ruptures and gives us a passive. After defeating any of the main targets, this unit will come and start heal 3 glowing resonance. It is incredibly powerful healing. 2. Harmony, however, has a incredibly powerful damage. So we are torn between the choices of damage or healing. Since we have Impending Day, Cavernous Wailing that gives us protection, this one that gives us healing, I think we should go for Harmony, especially because we are using the Mexican ID with the Mariachis. We gain a buff called Rhythm, so why the hell not, right? Unfortunately, we only generate the sin of Sloth for this one. Again, we are going to be relying entirely on Ego Gift for generation. And we'll take the Tears of Tarnished Blood because there's really no other WoW option for Sinclair as of yet. All right, now that we have the ego and the ID reviewed, let's get our team to support our boy, because holy hell is he going to need support, because those numbers are not very good. Despite his tankiness and his interesting evade and gloom resonance, he does not have much going on for him. So we are sinking and we are poise. We could take the butterfly here, which I recall correctly, it is on a blue owned and inflicts butterfly, which is extra damage. So not much of a competition here compared to the others. For Faust, poise and sinking. We have the Wuthering Heights Butler. Ally with the least SP hits an enemy that has 5 sinking. The ally heals 3 SP on hit. It's better than nothing, I suppose. And for poise, we have Blade Lineage, but that's for critical on slashes. This one gives us more defense power, I believe. True defense skill, final power, but it's on a Lust Resonance, which we don't have. Try to go to floor 15 again. How did it go? The Henshaw Pack is a Resonance. Yeah, can't use it. We have the Index Proselyte, but that is for when we're all attacking the same guy. Yeah, not very good. Yep, I think it's gonna be Wuthering Heights Butlers. It's not the best we can get, but that's what we're gonna get. Dawn. Dawn does not have much for a sinking support, neither for poise support. Let's see. This one gives us poise, gain more poise, but I'm getting poise in the skill. It's extra poise. This one is for speed and burn. This one is for slash. This one is for tremor. When I slow speed, take damage, and have tremor, take 9% damage. We don't generate tremor, so it doesn't go very well. Let's see. Looks like it's going to be Blade Lineage also, honestly. And I do believe the Index Proxy Dawn is much the same, right? Combat start. Heal 15 SP to the ally with the lowest speed. The effect prioritizes pro scoring identities. If the effect is the index faction, they get damage up. The effect doesn't apply. It's just healing SP on a tree resonance, which is okay, I believe. Well, in between healing 15 SP on a gloom resonance and gaining more poise for our poise, I'll take the poise, honestly. Hey, Jefe, what are your thoughts on the new Ricardo idea? It's good. It's great. It's fantastic. It interrupts the music to play his own music when he uses his Empowered S3. I can't wait to get my mitts on him. Was that what the pitch for the 10 to my phone constantly crashing? It's not for that to be able to make it past 4-2. Fucking Josh just stopped me this time around because of how animation heavy that fight was. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but I wouldn't. I don't see. I don't understand how people could play Limbus on their phones, honestly. But hey, sometimes we don't get a choice. Life is sometimes like that. But yeah, I don't have a good phone, and I absolutely abhor using my phone for everything. But that's just me. All right, for Ryoshu, when ally that has to play with the clash game points count, gain 1 haste. So you can get fast with that. That boy is incredibly slow. We also have the Drifting Blade for shield, and as we saw in the last string, shield from this is very good to keeping our boys alive. I'm liable to take that, honestly. We're not going to be faster, so there is not much we can do here. Envy. Do we have Envy? We do. Yep. That's about it. Merso, how can you support a poise sinking boy? You don't have any good sinking support, if I recall correctly. Let's see. When ally with the highest extra speed discards a skill, we don't use this card. Dead Rabbit's Boss is for Rupture. Rose Planet Workshop is for Tremor. I suppose we don't really. I guess we're gonna leave base Merso here for the damage reduction, honestly. Yep. Base Merso is gonna give us damage reduction. As for Honglu, how can Honglu help a poise sinking team? Well, if he can't help with he can help in any way, shape, or form or poise sinking team, because I don't see anything that helps a sinking poise team. SP healing, bleed. This is bleed, right? This is offense level down and bleed on a Lust Resonance. Yeah, we're taking Think Tank Hong Gang Leader. There's not much option here. But in the case of Heathcliff, the option is easy. Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt provides us damage bonus based on the sinking and sanity of the target. So we are going to take that one pretty easy. We could also take the Potential Man here, which his turn is coming. Don't worry. He is coming. One else loses me by attack, one blunt damage up next turn. Tree owned envy, blunt damage up. That's 10% more damage for whenever we lose a SP. So this one gives us high speed of specters left speed, more damage for the target max 20%. I don't have a speed. One more sinking point, count boost skills, drain effects, attack skills, shoot after turn. One is the resonance, the one order is owned. I think we are going to be taking Lobotomy, Ego, Sun Shower. We're going to take 10 SP damage whenever we get hit, but we're going to gain 10% damage up. To counteract that, we need some sort of SP healing, however. And I do believe that Faust has some SP healing, I believe. Yeah. We have, not Faust, Dawn. Dawn, there we go. We can pretty much nullify that and just gain the extra damage. Nice. So it's not Resonance Gloom, however. That's the problem. We are going to get a lot of power out of Gloom Resonance. Maybe we should go for the Gloom Resonance, honestly. That means replacing most of his skills 1 with a skill 3, which is, you know... Yeah. Let's go for Gloom Resonance and keep that as a healing. SP healing, so we can use our ego attacks. Yeah. For Ishmael, the choice is not really a choice. We take Edgar Family Butter because of the damage bonus here. For Rodion has this that I believe increases pierce damage. Let's see. Allies players put more or less minute skill. It's more power, less speed. Is gonna complement Potential Man incredibly, but otherwise, I don't see any support for Poise Sinking here. Although speed does 10% more slash damage. Yeti Rodion provides. I would have max speaking, but damage next damage they took this turn. Actually, this is better. How much damage do we get out of this? It's blend damage based on base effect 30%. Should damage but take damage. But this one requires us to get hit, and it only goes to 30%, while the Gambler is just active at all time. Are we talking about Blood Fiends in chat there? Yeah. Khaled, I've been playing Limbus on my phone, even though it drains battery like a bitch. Only part from my PC imploded itself. I don't have the money to replace that. That I understand, but yeah, I understand that. For Otis, we could always take the ever-reliable G-Corp head manager for the random buffs, and we can generate the resources here. Is there no game audio? There is. There could be. Is there no audio in the game? I did try something. I did just remember that. Hold on. I was trying to put Limbus on the second audio track. I guess, there we go. The audio should be working now. Please tell me if it's working properly. Raise it a little bit further. Yeah, I was trying something here. I don't think it worked. I'll look into it later. So I think I'm going to take the ever-trusty G-Corp head manager instead of the Ujaz team leader, because this one is on a resonance and it's 1 protection, while G-Corp manager literally just gives us a random buff for 5. And here there is really no choice. We always take our good old boy G-Corp manager, Corporal Gregor. Unless there is something here to fortify blunt, poise, or sinking. We do have Edgar Family Heir, which gives us gloom damage up, loses 5 SP, and gains on gloom damage up. That's 10% more damage, but we are exchanging healing for 10% more damage. All right. Anything else I could do here? We have HP, SP healing from both of these. Extra damage, buffs, healing, extra damage, damage reduction, shield, SP healing, more sinking, I believe. No, it's SP heal on hit and another SP heal on hit. We have a lot of SP heal on hit here. We could probably take Potential Man and Nightmare Gregor, but I don't think that's a good trade-off, honestly. Because Potential Man, where is he? Potential Man here has 1 ally with illicit SP loses 10 SP when hit by an attack and gains 1 blunt damage up next turn once per turn. So blunt damage up gives us 10% more damage. While Wild Hunt, which requires a resonance, gives us up to 20% more damage based on the SP difference. I'm thinking of trying to go Potential Man together with... Ooh, there was another one we got hit that would give us gloom damage. Edgar Family Heir. Yeah, I do believe it's another resonance. Yeah, no, it's owned. Gloom damage up. This way we don't have any more healing here, but we can get by with healing from Ego Gift. Just gonna be a little raw. So I think that I'm satisfied with this. So let's review. Lobotomy Eagle's Isang is giving us access to Butterfly, which is SP heal on hit and damage based on sinking on target. Wuthering Heights Butler Faust gives us SP healing on hit against target with sinking. Index Proxy Dawn gives us healing, 10 SP healing on turn start, as long as we hit a Gloom Resonance. Drifting Blade of Hongyuan is going to be giving us shields based on our poise potency, and we do generate poise. Base Mersaw is giving us damage reduction. Think Tank Gang Leader Honglu is giving us more damage. Lobotomy Eagle Sunshower is giving us more damage, but it drains our sanity when we get hit. Edgar Family Butler Ishmael is giving us more damage based on sinking. Rhodia is giving us more damage. This is the fighter. Random buffs, more damage, but we lose the speed. Sounds good to me. Let us deploy. But before that, before I forget, of course, let's change the loading screen. Since I know it's finally time for me to shake the maracas in public. No longer delegated to being a bench warmer, but he's going onto the field and probably getting his ass mulched. There we go. Ooh. One side, I don't understand people playing on phones, because if you have access to computer, you should play on a computer. But if you have no other choices, I guess you're kind of stuck with phone usage. But I understand why some people are going to prioritize phone over PC now, because with the way prices are hiking, it's going to be, you know, going to be difficult. Look at the bright side, Skincare, not the absolute worst idea in the game. I am. No, no. Alright, after our starting blessings, we are going to take Starlight Guidance level 2 and Favor the Nebula in level 1. Starlight Guidance because this is a solo run, and so we need that damage protection. The Clash power-up is a bonus because this boy has very bad rolls, and Favor the Nebula will allow us to keep up with the levels as the dungeon progresses to keep a more even fighting. Now, as for our gifts, I am tempted to take Sinking, but since we do generate poise, we are going to take Cigarette Holder for the power-up. As our initial gift, we are going to take the usual Ashen Constellation Blessing, we are going to be taking Phlebotomy Pack, and the Blue Zippo Lighter. Phlebotomy Pack allows us to heal, Ashen Constellation makes us more tanky, it removes our weakness to a certain type of damage, and the Blue Zippo Lighter gives us Eagle resources. I think that's it. What does this do anyway? Hold on. Allies use defense skill determines more damage on skill tree next turn once per turn. That's interesting. Yeah, I put the Zippo Light back on. There we go. Phones were revolutionary to me back in 2011, so I decided to do everything on my phone. That we're gonna have to disagree. I despise phones. I grew up with computers, so that's just a, you know. All right, so we no longer have our weakness to slash, so we can take certain packs. The Forgotten, Faithful Erosion. Faithful Erosion has Inquisitors. To Be Pierced has Crab Hell. The Forgotten is giving us the gun and this. Yeah, let's go for the Forgotten. I wish I wanted to get flat broke Gramblers, but it is what it is. Let's minimize the amount of chances of getting our asses handed to us on unfocused encounters here. Oh yes, and remember, every combat node that we complete is going to be a page of the book we're reading today. So I'm gonna keep the thing open here so I can update it on time. Here we go. Take the painting. Give me the painting, old man. Let's go down here. Yeah, sorry, old meme. I was raised with computers. I didn't get phones until much later into my life, and I don't like phones. I don't like doing things on my phone. Maybe the fact that I have quite a shitty phone helped it, but I despise doing things on my phone. I don't want to have a phone on my computer. I don't want my computer to be on my pocket. I prefer to use the computer on the computer, and I absolutely dislike when I come try to do something on the bank and say, hey, you have to use your phone for this. Hey, you have to use your phone for this. Hey, use your phone for this. I really dislike it. I hope the 5 people in YouTube chat likes reading. Well, again, I am planning on taking the book reading, putting it up and making it on video, and trying to make more videos in general. It's just that today has been a very, very weird day for me because, I don't know, I feel kind of exhausted. It's probably because it's hot. And again, if you don't like the reading, you're only here for the gameplay to see Sinclair do his thing, do his funny little dance. You can always tune out once I start reading, and if you want to hear me reading, you can always tune back in. All the streams are saved on the channel. Shake that. Hopefully you don't have the graphics setting, no word. It's not great with phones or computers either, man, with the necessities at least. Yeah. I wish I didn't have to use my phone for most things. Like, I try to get something done with the bank, and the bank says I have to use my phone. I try to get something done with like a government thing, says I have to use my phone. Everything requires a phone, and I don't have a good phone, so I don't like using my goddamn phone. All right, and like just we saw in the ID study now, we can see that his stagger threshold is very, very, very low. So he is incredibly tanky. He has almost 300 HP base. So you have a notion, Lord Lu has 192 HP, and this Mexican twink has 300 HP. We're gonna hear that sound a lot. Now, our goal is to replace his skills 1 with skill 3, so that we get the most gloom resonance that we can. We do have our evade, but fuck off, bot. Hold on, Moises, you say like, I wish Kim Jong-un had potato graphics setting, but words. That's just letting Yezod free on Limbus company. It's just gonna be Yezod suppression all over again. Yeah. And here's the thing, he's gonna be pretty much unstaggerable now that I think about it, unless he gets jumped by something that really does a lot of damage to him. Because every time he uses his skill tree, he's lowering his stagger threshold even further, and we can do that a lot. Oh, I hate focused encounters, man. And following the team of Sinclair, he's very mentally unstable here, because every time he gets hit, he's gonna lose SP. Well, at least the first time, because he gains damage up next turn. But we can get back our SP by doing a Gloom Revenue, so. And just hating enemies in general, because of Butterfly. The sound effect will leave a little to be desired, but then again, this is a Season 1 ID. We saw it on the last stream that Season 1 ID can be pretty good. Go, my Sinclair. Shake that maracas, boy. You got 2 damage up from the Race of the Stars, 2 more damage ups from our support, and the power up from the cigarette holder. So we're sitting at a very nice 40% damage up right now. 5%. Imagine going to the battlefield of a smoke war and seeing this. Literally a guy with 2 maracas fighting insect people. The city is wild, man. Ah, losing our sanity to gain the gloom power up. No, it's gloom power up or damage up? It's damage up. Wait, hold on. So far, so good. What I want to see is him going full gloom power. But unfortunately, this is one of the Season 1 IDs where the application of poise sinking are tied to other skills. So if you fully replace his skills to skill 3, he no longer generates any poise or inflicts any sinking. Alright, that is a combat node complete. See what's over here. Ah, Wound Clarion. I'll take it. We have no one that can do this role, so we're gonna gamble with Ponglu. You must win this, young Jade. Precious Jade. Ah. Another mystery pack. Lucky. Ah, this one is actually good for us. Give me that. That is gonna give us a power up every time we kill an enemy. If an enemy is killed by an attack end of a blunt skill or a slot skill for 2 turns starting next turn, raise the blunt skill power by 2 for the unit who used the skill. And I think this stacks. I'm not sure. It's one of those things that you just win harder, you know? Right, let's see. Fresh. Ah, didn't get it. Use the refreshes mostly to try and get to replace his skill, but alas, no luck. First floor could be easy enough.
이게 옳은 선택일까?
Alright, little German Mexican boy, it's time to rock. Now, what was the terms for reusing coins on Harmony? Let me check. Heads hit a 10% more HP, take 4 HP once per coin, they reuse a coin 4 times, this damage. It has to be on the heads, got it. So if you use it right now, we won't have a chance to reuse it because our sanity will be lower. This unstable German Mexican boy. This is just like that episode of JoJo where they find the Stromhai on Mexico. And it's still not the best, so let's go for another round of ass kicking before we deploy some egos. Oh, we're losing 15 sanity every round. It's like we have a mounting trial already, a adversity. All this for extra damage. Alright, let's try using some egos right now. Cry, little German boy. Get yourself a nice little shield. Is this like does this ID have an actual block animation? Because we saw on Faust that he doesn't have actually a block animation. No, he doesn't. Lovely. Let's try using Harmony now for that coin reuse and see if it gets us. Ah, there goes my sanity. That coin reuse is not happening. That blubber shield is incredibly good for solo runs because it's really good to have 2 turns of shields unless you have like something some other way of defending yourself or ego gift. This is truly ideal, Plushy is saying. Are you like a Pokemon that says the same ideal at random intervals?
잠시 아파도 참아주세요. 장담할게요. 사람만큼 훌륭한
Ah, he didn't get to do the reuse.
없어요.
그 새끼들 만들라고 했던 것이
One thing that is good about Eagles with AoE is that if you score a kill during that, you do manage to get a nice little. You do manage to refund your sanity lost by using the what's it called, the Eagle. Welcome, Donas Canelli. How you doing? I see you there. I see you there.
너무 쉽잖아.
By the way, I've been meaning to try and do some afternoon streams because I started playing Gloomwood recently. I bought it and I thought it fun. And I thought, hey, this would be an excellent game to stream. But I realized I haven't finished I Divine Cybermancy on stream yet. So I probably should finish I Divine Cybermancy first, even though it's a lot of people want to watch an old ass Half-Life 2 mod, potentially as cool as it is and being one of my foundational games. But I want to finish it on stream and then I'll probably do Gloomwood. Alright, he did well enough for his first boss. I had some issues with solo runs before, with probably solo runs where I didn't take Grace of the Stars or a gift. Let's see. We're gonna take the Rusty Revolver and this is more poise. Oh, that one's pretty better. Offense level, max HP. I wanted to take the Broken Revolver because it reduces the offense level of enemies, but Barbed Lasso, Pendant Nostalgia gives us additional poise, and we're gonna need that. All right, second round. We're gonna refresh this. I want to go to the Unconfronting. Even though there is Inquisitors in it, I want to go there because we get to fight Cromer. I think it's going to be incredibly fitting for us to fight Cromer with his outfit right now. All right, let's see. Let's go for the focus encounter where I actually can put my dodge to use.
옳은 선택일까?
Ah, it's these guys. I remember them. They used to be so tough. All right, buddies, if you don't want to use it, do anything, we can just wait his turn. We can just waste a turn.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Yeah, I know your tricks.
자.
뭐시여 대가리에 총 맞았나?
All right, and we do a dodge.
쪼개고 있어.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Shake that thing. Ooh, full envy resonance here. We are going for the full envy resonance because that increases the damage of the final hit.
생각이 있으면 허접한 것들을 갖다 내진 않았다.
Again, this is one of the videos I want to make, is explaining resonances.
자.
Should start probably writing all this down. I have to. We are right now at 87 subscribers on YouTube, which, by the way, thank you very much.
아, 아이, 놀라.
But once we hit 100, I have to make a video, and I'm contractually obligated to do.
이만치 할 줄 알았으면 빨리
Middle
좀
Sinclair? Yeah, I don't know what that is either. You know what, buddy? We can both waste a turn. How about that? I love getting gloom resources for no reason.
머리통을 박살내주마.
We just stand a turn looking at each other.
이번에는 재미 좀 보는가.
Alright, here we go.
허접한 것들을
Hit
갖다
up
내진
the
않았겠지.
gloom resonance here for no reason.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Hitting the gloom resonance here is more important for the fact that we can cancel Edgar Family Heir Gregor passive, where he drains 5 of our sanity to give us the damage up, with Dawn's SP up on a gloom resonance. So it's essentially a free damage up. And goodbye. Oh, hit with a Panada Party. I know it's not a multi-coin hit, but still.
근데 그냥 되지? 뭐론?
Do a little shake.
노는 것 같은 게
You know, all right, here's what you can do. Here's what Kim Ji-hoon should do. And I don't want him to tell him how to do his game, but still. Up type 5, Mariachi Sinclair. He gets to do the little Ida dance with the spotlight on him when he meets some conditionals. You know how she has the spotlight on top of her and she does a little dance? And he has to have a maraca sound. All right, we're gonna go here. Oh, that is a very good gift. Thank you. See, we bought the mariachi. So if you go here, we die. And if you go up here, we live. So we're gonna go up here. Hopefully we'll live.
이게 옳은
The
선택일까?
skill tree reuse and uptime, he needs it. Yeah, sort of like something like modulate for Ting Tang Hong Lu. And he has to have like a passive where he's doing the, you know?
저것들이 아까부터 어르렁
All right, let's get cavernous. No, we're not low on sanity. Just pop that so we get a shield.
머리통을
We have to
박살내주마.
take the combat nodes that have been completed. 300 HP is very good. By the way, if you want to do a full poise sinking team, you kind of need him on the team, by the way. I don't think we have enough to make I had prepared like a poise sinking team, which I might make a run of it later with him as like, you are one of the few poise sinking IDs in the game. You are part of the index now.
자, 싸울 준비는 끝났어.
Ah, there you go. Ideal once again. Indeed, this is quite ideal.
보고 있고 그런다냐?
We could do blubber shoot again. We don't generate the resources for it, which is gonna. But we have the eagle for it, the eagle gift. I'd rather use the eagle instead of dying. And if he corrodes, it's no problem.
모든 슬픈 눈물을 끌어모아 대신 물어드릴 수 있다면.
There we go. Very good. Not so good, but still a stagger.
머리다.
자, 봐라. 아까부터 두드려 맞더만. 배급박이.
How much? Let's do another blubber shield. We can do it. And then tossing an evade, get our sanity up. There we
머리통을
go.
박살내주마.
Very unstable German boy here.
머리다.
아, 아이, 놀랐네.
It's still kind of surreal to see just a guy in a Mexican outfit in the city. It's strange to think that Mexico is real in the city.
대신 물어드릴 수 있다면.
그 새끼.
Right, onto the offensive, Sinclair. You have the shield to tank it this time.
머리통을 박살내주마.
욕심이 나긴 나빴어.
다음에는 머리다.
Breaking news, who has Mexican to new, yeah. Hey, it's kind of unusual because it's not like some fantasy Mexico or anything. It is literally just, this is a mariachi outfit. There is no joke, there is no like, they are from old Mexico. It's just a mariachi outfit.
머리다.
Like, you could hire this guy to go to your birthday party to make you happy, and that's it. Very bunker amounts of shoot HP, yeah. Cavernous Wailing is incredibly good.
다음에는 머리다. 너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아.
놀만치 노는 것 같은 게
But no complete, another page of the stranger that we will read.
고생되었다.
Alright, we have to do that performance again.
이게 옳은 선택일까?
If there are Mexicans in the city, then where are the Brazilians? Buddy, did you miss the entirety of the middle?
여지제. 아까부터 어르렁.
머리통을 박살내주마.
좋은 상태야.
모든 슬픈
Right, here we
눈물을
go.
끌어모아
Ignore the sound of the background. I do share this room with someone else, so you might hear Portuguese from time to time. There is nothing I can do about that.
이만 찰 줄 알았으면 빨리 좀 하지 그랬냐?
Very good, very nice. Let's do it again. Sanity is no problem for us, for we are the unstable German boy. But one of my favorite bands actually has a song called Germans in Mexico. I should play that, but you know, copyright and all that.
그러지. 그것은 그 짝에 갖다 써야지.
모든 슬픔과 눈물을 끌어모아
I should name this stream Germans in Mexico, actually. Let me do that right now. Hold on, give me about a moment.
이번에는 재미 좀 본다.
How do I do this? I go over here, alright? We still have some shield left, but they have a shit ton of attacks coming our way, so we're gonna hit with one more Cavernous Wailing with an evade on top of that.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Lot of shield, baby. Ooh, yeah! It should be a reuse on Stagger, honestly.
모든 슬픔과 눈물을 끌어모아 대신 물어드릴 수 있다면
Ooh, look at in.
옛날에 외부 강사로 뛰던 것이 생각나네.
Alright, let me just rename the string here. There we go.
한 놈만 잡아주고.
And controlling. We are out of resources right now for our usual fuckery with the evades and all that, with Cavernous Wailing, so we are going to have to, you know, rock out with what we have right now. And let's go.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Mexico, Germans in Mexico. There we go. String renamed.
머리다.
There we go. That's more appropriate for what we're doing right now.
너무 쉽잖아.
Anyway, I entered a hellscape that is Twitter again, and I keep seeing like people say like, "Oh, the middle absolutely needs Ricardo because they're so bad in the mirror dungeon." And I don't usually respond, and I didn't in this case. But what the fuck do you mean the middle is bad in the mirror dungeon? What the hell? Why are these people smoking? And then there was another guy complaining about Rupo on the Reflect trial having too much protection, and he was playing on normal mode, and he probably didn't read the fine print that said, "Hey, Rupo gains a lot of protection, but you can counteract that by inflicting negative effects on her, any negative effect." Right? That is another combat node completed. And if she's low enough sanity, she just gains fragile instead. I really don't know what these people are smoking sometimes, man. Alright, we don't have lust, so Bloody Gadget isn't as good, but it's still 20% more damage. Dimensional Box can't be used by us, so we take Bloody Gadget. Bloody Gadget. This is defense level down, I'll take it. This is for single coin, it's a defense level down, we'll take it. And ID skills, we're just gonna sell something first, return. We don't need Wound Clarity because we don't inflict bleed ourselves. No, we didn't get Wound Clarity, that's right. Oh my. Right now we have 3 Healing Eagles, 1 Rupture that is kind of just standing there. I'm going to use the money from selling that to replace his skill. I can't replace it. It's Odie! Oh shit, what do we sell then? Dolly's too good. No, all of these is good, and I just bought this one. I'm not gonna sell it. Ah, what a shame. What a shame, what a shame. Maybe a Ripple Fresh? Nah. Okay, lowest star is here. Lowest star is really good. Ah, the lack of funds. Alright, on to the boss fight. It's time. Oh, hold on. I got an image for that. Where is my image?
으쌰.
Hold on.
총 맞았네.
Save. There we go. Let me just find this just a second here. All right. It's loading. Oh, I have more images from Sinclair than I thought. First, we have this one. Oh, I have to show you this one first. Oh, too big. Hold on. Why do the images load so big, man? They're large. There we go. That should be. First, we're gonna put this image here on stream, and we're gonna put it somewhere nice to stay with us. I absolutely adore this. But before that, we have to find the other one. And the other one is... should be ass kicking. God damn it. Sinclair. Where is it? I know I have that image saved. God damn nation. You know what? I can't find the image right now where he's screaming that he's in my ass kicking outfit. So this one will have to do. Yep, he was too pure for this word, unfortunately. He was too marketable, too plushy. There you go. Ideal image. Alright, Cromer, let's tango.
머리통을 박살내주마.
보자. 싸울 준비.
Unfortunately, she's going to first stagger us next turn.
무엇을 그렇게 깜깜하게
Oh, I didn't bring the...
그런다냐?
We're gonna have to set up our shield right now. We didn't bring Echo to the Manor, and you lost a clash. Congratulations. No matter. We only need a shield right now because we are going to be force staggered next turn. There is nothing we can do.
대신 물어드릴 수 있다면
보자.
There we go, force
싸울
stagger.
준비는 끝났을까? 무엇을 그렇게 깜깜하게 쳐다만 보고 있고 그런다냐? 저런 놈들 칼질 3번이면 다 쓸거든.
Hey, we actually get to see Cromer do something in the mirror dungeon. Usually she doesn't. What is going on through his head right now? Please tell me, what do you think is going on through his head right now? Such a funny frame, I don't know why. But we do have a lot of bleed on us, so... How about we distort? We have gripping again. Yeah, she's going to gaze onto us again. So we're going to have to Camus Whaley her ass.
머리통을 박살내주마.
이겨버리겠어.
I'm going to try to find that fucking image now. I can't find it, but I do have this, which is a similar spirit.
이번에는 재미 좀 보는가? 잘 더 생각이 있으면 허접한 것들을 갖다 내진 않았겠지.
I love having a lot of shield, don't you? Bop. Hey, Cromer, guess what happens next? I am going to burst my entire HP on you because the corrosion for this ego does HP damage, and that is no good. He turns into a frog. I'm gonna keep the floating Sinclair here. Ah, isn't that a lovely sound to hear? The Sinclair losing it. One more time, Sinclair, we're not done yet. Cry some more. He cried so hard he staggered her. Alright, you good, buddy? You better? You feeling better after that? Alright, go remove your bleed, please, because you have 16 potency and 11 count. And you have enough shoot HP to soak up all that bleed, so go ahead, buddy. Get your frustrations out. Punch the shit out of her. Right, back to it. You got it out of your system, buddy. You still have some bleed on you, but that's more. That's nothing. All right, let's get it done. Hit the maw. Hit the bloody maw.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Here we go. Alright, I'm gonna do an experiment that I'm gonna take the string and I cut out my voice. I'm gonna try to cut it up the best moments, like the screaming just now, the Sinclair punching the shit out of Cromer, and everything else, you know, and see how it goes. And try to make a video, because I have to start making videos at some point, otherwise I'm not gonna get, you know, traction on YouTube at all. Otherwise, you guys are here, and I'm very thankful of that. Videos need to be made. It is a channel after all. I wanted to do video game reviews at some point, but honestly, streaming is, well, it takes some time, and considering everything else in life, it also takes some time. And I don't know, you just gotta be in the right mood for it. I made videos before, but they're not good. This is gonna take a while. Innocent flutters. Protoplast wings. Then break her spine. What a visual.
머리통을 박살내주마. 자. 다음에는 머리다.
You're shaking.
자.
우리를 아주 박살내버렸시야. 화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
Broke apart. Let's break the rest of it now. Thankfully, her parts once broken can still be targeted, so we can still do good damage to it. Keep it going, German boy. I also need to regenerate all that. We are on negative lust, mind you. We are in lust depth. We blew our load all over Cromer by crying until she staggered.
자.
One more.
너무 쉽지
Haha!
놀만치 노른 거
Finish this
같은데.
dance with Cromer.
이제 싸게 치워불고 들어가자. 고생들이었다.
Bring back the floating Sinclair, please. There's negative sin affinity amount? Yes, when you corrode, they go into the negative. Because it still consumed resources. Indeed, I am in sin depth right now. Oh, it's not fitting. There we go. Ooh, a gift that we can actually use. We don't have Lust, or also take Fire down. Stone Tomb, we can take Stone Tomb. And we don't have Wrap, so this doesn't work. It's Bleeded Skill and Fixed Bleed Potency. There's hers. We'll take the left offense level then. I am in depth. Oh yeah, at least we forget that is another combat node completed. That is the 6th page of our lovely book that we're gonna be reading on the time arrive. This has crabs. That is okay, but doesn't have gift we can use. A Spectral Contract. Oh hell yeah! I also have these two. Ooh, these ones are good. Attack power up, although we lose some health. But Special Contract though. Special Contract is too powerful to just ignore it like that. And we also have these two here. They're 2 level 3s. One for poison, one for solo play. I would take the poison solo play on. Floor 3, here we go. We have the option of 2 different combat nodes and this creature, which will give us 2 gifts. We're gonna go over here. Because none of those gifts we can use, even though we get a little bit more cost out of that fight, it is still a gimmick fight that gives poison, so I don't want to, you know, lose HP when I can avoid it. Although it would be a pretty much very easy fight. Here we go. We're fighting gluttony creatures. We are evading gluttony creatures.
머리통을
Lose a
박살내주마.
speed. Whew. That was close. We have a 10% chance of failing our evade, mind you, because of Edgar Gregor lowering our sanity at the beginning of every turn. Excellent dance, Mexican boy. Let's get it rolling now. We can actually clash. Oh no, magical arrow. Show me your true secrets. That one's first, and that one is second. Got it. Why is it in a different order? I don't know.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Come on, Sinclair. Come on, Sinclair. You dodged everything and you're gonna fail now? Very good, very good. Now with full sanity, you keep evading, boy. Alright, let's do a full resonance here. Dodging this one. Then following up with a clash against this one. And then finally another dodge over here. We got a full resonance, we got our sanity back. All right, little German boy, keep doing that Mexican dance. Also, because of our evasion, we are gaining insane amounts of poise count. We have but 1 less slot than the enemy, so dodge the first one. Followed by that. Be good.
박살내주마.
I like the song. I like this specific part of that song where they start beating on the rims of the drums and make this sound. It's really fun. It's really nice. Welcome to Critical Population Mexican. Ah, but he can dance forever, can't he? Now we're fully on Clash.
배급박이 헷가닥 해붙는 것 같다.
We are on the offensive now.
가서
머리통을
머리부터
박살내주마. 다음에는 머리다. 자.
Unbreakable guard works, clashable counter works, but there's never going to be an unbreakable evade. I mean, what would be the point of unbreakable evade? Because evade is supposed to be all or nothing. If you have an unbreakable evade, your guy wins the clash, you get to try and evade again with like a minimum roll of your evade, which does nothing. Because if you have a unbreakable guard, you're reducing the damage by the roll. If you have an unbreakable counter, you're still hitting the guy with your counter. If you have an unbreakable evade, you're just trying to evade again, but you no longer have coin power, and most evades are coin powered. That's why Molar-ish is considered so good, because most of her evade power comes from base rather than from coin power. So how would that even work?
그러지. 그것은 근작에 갖다 써야지. 아, 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
Yeah, so basically like an evade who can clash with no permanent evade is just worse. Yeah, it does make it's just worse.
이런 것이 생각나네. 한 놈만 잡아.
Unless it has some built-in mechanic like take less damage, so or something like that. But I don't see it happening.
박살내주마.
Oh, coffee. Very nice. Look at how his stagger bar is like right at the bottom. He no longer gets staggered unless he dies. Despite his low rolls and no escalation on his skills, he's doing alright. But again, it's 5 floors of the dungeon, and we do have extra clash power from the Great of the Stars. So yeah, we can't really compare here. Bop, 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 bop.
머리다.
Bop, bop.
너무 쉽잖아.
Ah, here they come, ready for war. Well, so am I. Let's do some bapping over here. I'll fully bap that thing into oblivion.
박살내주마. 자. 다음에는
Very nice.
머리다.
Kill that creature, crush it.
너무 쉽잖아.
옛날에 외부 강사로
Fool's Laugh resonant over here.
한 놈만 잡아준다겠지.
We really need more. We really need more skills replacement, man.
머리통.
He's gonna turn into a rock at this point. How many sloth he has? Yeah, I didn't ever take the Mexican to be slothful. Bop. Bop. Bop.
너무 쉽잖아.
I'm gonna mark this dungeon node as complete.
너무
Here we go. Another page in our book. Again, like I mentioned yesterday, this is just Library of Ruin. We are killing things in combat to get more pages of a book to read.
고생들이었다.
You see what we're doing here? Every time we get past a combat node, we add another page for reading at the end. Oh, this fragment, this is garbage. All right, we have a mystery node here. It's Jesus. Rupture Ego Bleed. I'm not fighting you for it, Rupture Ego. And there's too much envy. He just, she just explodes.
생각보다 쉬웠어.
Yep, let's go over here. Ooh, free healing, I'll take it. Assuming we can do the row, we can't. So let's gamble. Gamble complete.
운은 실력과도 연관되어 있죠?
Next stage. It is an unfocused encounter. This smells like crabs. Oh no.
선택해볼까?
It's going to be crabs, isn't it? Okay, it's not crabs. Ah, live performance in front of the camera drone. This one is gonna make the tearful thing really cry about it. We're gonna really give it something to cry about it. All right.
머리통을 박살내주마.
모든 슬픔과 눈물을 끌어모아 대신 물어드릴 수 있다면
Things give tree paralysis.
보자, 싸울
Tree
준비.
paralysis is not good, brother.
무엇을 그렇게 깝깝하게 쳐다만 보고 있고 그런다냐?
The good thing we have a counter for that.
머리통을
It's called
박살내주마.
using a negative coin ego.
좀더 가까이 만들어주는 세상에
Very nice. And now he has that Rhythm of the Night going over him. He's gonna blow up next turn. Alright. What? Mystery Eagle, will he activate? Ah, it's Harmony again. We're gonna go into depth again. Please paralyze me more.
좀더 가까이 세상에
One more. Time for what's it called? Encore. Encore.
만들라고 했던 것이 이라고 저길 갈아 마시는 거에 마시고.
좀더 가까이 세상에
Nice job, little German boy. Hey, you missed a spot there.
아, 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Very nice.
너무 쉽잖아.
The joys of playing solo is that you can corrode your sinners whenever you want because it's only going to target the enemy, so that's pretty nice.
팍 하고 터진 것이 제법 보는 맛이 있단게. 나머지도
Oh, I'm paralyzed to hell and back, aren't I?
머리다. 너무 쉽잖아. 자.
This one, yeah, so how good the music is, pretty much. This one's gonna make the tearful thing produce a lot of tears.
머리다.
It's such good music. It's like Mexican metal, Mexican German metal. Imagine the horrible, the harmonious sound that must be.
일대를 다 쓸어버려.
자. 너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아.
놀만치
Nice job.
이제 싸게 치어불고 들어가자. 고생들이었다.
A little explodey, a little rock and roll there, but I admire the spirit. He's a boy of the arts. It's surprising how we didn't get a ring ID for him. All right, let's take Ornamental Horseshoe. Let's take Talisman Bundle, and let's replace one of his skills, please. We need more lust. We need more glue in his boy. He needs to cry a little bit more. He's not crying enough, and that's kind of pissing me off. Let's sell Fairy down because we don't need it. We can even activate it. This one, no gluttony, ego excuse last turn. Random penalty for each gluttony skill. I guess we are using a lot of egos. Let's keep that one. All right. We're doing inflict some rupture now, so this will actually help us, so I'll take it. And there is no money to upgrade anything, so we'll take it while we can. If we need, we'll sell our rupture eagles and buy something better, but right now we'll take what we get and we move forward.
선택일까?
I hate these drone enemies deeply. Yeah, they apply a lot of and notice how the most dangerous enemies are the ones that apply debuff, and not the ones that are like, you know, how do you say it, big damage boys. Because big damage boys, you can, you know, outroll them, you can lower their resistance or whatever. But the debuff boys will make your life hell because, well, they're debuffing you, and next turn is going to be even worse. That's why I am mildly concerned for how we're going to get an end corp, which has the Inquisitors.
짜게 갖다 써야지.
머리통을 박살내주마.
원래 말이야.
What the fuck? What the fuck just happened?
할수 없이야.
Oh, excuse you?
혹시 모른 게 한번 살려줄 수
Is it because I couldn't control him and I didn't kill him fast enough? What the fuck?
더 거시기 어려운 게.
Alright, alright. Let's try that again, shall we?
하고 없이
머리통을 박살내주마.
이번에는 재미 좀.
What?
박살내주마.
다들 생각이 있으면 먼저판 것들을 놀랐네.
There we go. I didn't know that could happen.
화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
Alright, magical arrow. Which clashes are going to happen first? Tell me. Tell me my future. Right. We shall be evading then.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Ooh, nice. And the parry healed up. I guess we need volume of damage here rather than big hit. I attended senior permadeath run before. I really enjoyed it, but the drone and the bullfight can't. Whereas the first real trend has typically resulted in losses.
머리통을 박살내주마.
I mean permadeath is in like a canto, because how would that work in the mirror dungeon? Because now it forcibly revived sinners, so. Alright, we have 5 and you have 5. That means we're clashing you, boy. We're clashing you so hard. Neutrals. Neutral. Let's do evade.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Apparently after me, my apologies going through my story content on a new account. If I dive, I cannot use it again. Ah. I would never open a new account in this game, honestly. I put too many hours into it. I couldn't consider it. Bam, 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 bam. Nope. The fairy has healed, but unfortunately for you, fairy, I have skills lots of plenty now. That means we get to hit you a lot. So you're only delaying the inevitable. It's not even deleted my account or anything, I just made a new one. Yeah, I understand. Interesting thing. I suppose. The problem is, if this wasn't a gacha, I would try that because it sounds fun. But the problem is, it is a gacha, so your access to IDs is limited by your luck or your ability to farm or your wallet. Alright, let's beat the hell out of this boy.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Very nice. Now we got free damage.
자.
Bah, bah, bah. One more. Bah, bah.
자.
Bah, bah. Ah, we got a stagger plus. Good damage, good damage. Hit them with damage.
머리통을
But I did enjoy it's fun making do the game what gives me and the rule set I can pull on standard or sinner specific banners. I suppose it would be a challenge, but nah, personally I would never do that. It would take far too long. And yeah, I already put my grind hours in. I don't want to do it again. But it apparently has an appeal. Maybe in the future, once the 10 years of Limbus Company have gone by, and I decide to do something cool like, hey, we finished Limbus Company, there's gonna be no more content. Here, you can access the game and play single player now. Which has its fair share of problems.
머리다.
Or you just keep it online and, you know, play it, keep giving us money, but be aware that there's no more content.
머리통을
We're reading break to this one, there's not much to do here. The whimsical creatures of the forest cannot handle the jovial mirth of the German Mexican boy. The little gnomes are gonna try to pull tricks on him. He's just gonna like evade and do a little.
너무 쉽잖아.
One thing I do want them to do to the game really is that increase clash speed when AIDs have high haste or high offense levels. Like, you know how Ricardo, Sancho, and Canto, etc., they clash faster? I kind of wish we could have that for when you reach a certain speed threshold or certain offense level threshold. Because it feels like sometimes older IDs, specifically, they clash too slowly. Oh, this is good. I like Sinclair, but generally every time he has something related to the plot happen, I like him less. Sinclair, it's the chosen one. He is literally the chosen one. It's kind of difficult not to have him being a little grating, especially how the story is made, because he's literally a chosen one. All right, we can get the path down and avoid the unfocused encounter. Yeah, let's go the path down. Thunder and lightning. Oh yes, before I forget, another combat node has been added. Another page for a book has been collected for the mirror dungeon. Not actually, instead of combat nodes complete, I'm gonna say let's keep it topical. Pages collected from the dungeon. Pages collected. There we go. That sounds a little better. It sounds a little more topical. I just need to center that thing on the screen now. There we go. A little bit better. I was gonna hate Damien too, one of my absolute least favorite characters. Damien is fine, I think. He's not that bad. He's just, you know, the cryptic character that they he vague posts, as the younging says nowadays. He comes around, vague posts a little bit because I have all this knowledge of things you couldn't even fathom, and then he leaves. It's sometimes you need this for the plot because it's like you know, Vampire the Masquerade, how we have the Malkavians, which have, like, you know, visions of the future, but they're always batshit insane. It's kind of like that. We have a Malkavian show up and say something the most deranged way possible, and then you don't understand it at first, and then later on you're like, oh, so that's what he meant. Just remember to draw me a sheep later. Alright, now he has extra attack power, but we're losing HP every turn. Which is fine, we can recover that HP. There we go, it's coming in clutch already. We have 4 extra power already. Yeah, pretty much. We need a Malkavian character exists to foreshadow certain things by being a cryptic character. I don't know, there's no, like, no archetype Malkavian character, just using the clan Malkavian from Vampire the Masquerade like that. He shows up, says something vague, and then leaves, and you're only gonna realize what he meant later on. Foreshadow is important, and there are many ways to do it, and this is one of them. Literally have a character, like, imagine it's the same character from like an old tale where a old lady comes to your house and she's a gypsy or something, and she says something will happen to you in the future involving a bird and a stone, and then she says nothing else, and she just lays the prophecy there. Something is going to happen. There is a bird, there's a stone, And lo and behold, 4 chapters in, you're fighting a bird atop a giant mountain.
너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아.
I understand that some people might not like it, but I'm fine with it.
너무 쉽잖아.
At least the few vague posts he puts give it food for thought, you know. After the Kanto has ended and we were, you know, ending up and saying like, let's what will happen? What will happen next? And we have, Demon said this, so we can theorize about it. So a good little like let's imagine what's going to happen. What did Demon mean by this? What did he mean by a sheep? Do we go by the literary reference for the Little Prince, where drawing a ship, where he does the whole thing where he draws a box and he says, hey, your ship is inside here, because it is like a thought experiment, like your perfect sheep is the only one you can envision, so here's the box that contains the sheep. I didn't draw the ship, it's in there. It's your sheep, the way you imagined it. And then what did he mean by that? What did Dante promise him about the sheep? Is he going to draw like a ID for another word? There's something like that, or is something else entirely different? What about a certain magical blood fiend that showed up in Santo 7 to tell Don Quixote's story? I think his name was Sanso. Yeah, he's also a vague poster. But he was there to try and kindle her memories, you know? By forcing everyone else to get in on the play as well. It's literally remember this? Remember the things you did, Don? Ah, yeah, you're totally Don Quixote.
너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아. 너무 쉽잖아.
I don't like using modern jargon, modern slang, but vague posts, lock in, and some few select others, mind you, are very good because they, you know, evoke a sort of feeling or action that is very particular. We could technically fight this guy, but I don't want to. Oh yes, and let's upgrade the combat node. Collected 10 pages. Collect my pages, streamer. Go dance. Go dance, my boy. Here, point.
생각보다 쉬웠어. 이게
Something weird, kind of loving for that is we're going over the fact that they're trying to kill Shishu for some reason. Yeah, it was also that. But I don't think he was trying to get her to kill. He was trying to provoke her so that she would, you know, react in some way or shape or form. Like, yeah, here, you're about to kill your friend. Is that the spirit of Don Quixote? Is that the spirit of who you are? Come on, you're going to kill her. You got to do something. This also made Don Quixote take her shoes after her fight against Dulcinea. Yeah, because again, Sanso was there to try and reawaken Don's memories because she drank from the River of Oblivion. She forgot who she was. The Don Quixote we had before the Kanto was a different character than the Don Quixote we have now. Because first we had Sancho, became Blood Fiend, and then all the things happened. She drank the river water, became Don Quixote, the sinner. She spent a lot of time inside the lighthouse, reading Pixar stuff, getting her brain microwaved. And then Virgilius came around, yoinked her. You're now part of Limbus company. And everything in Limbus happened. We went back, we revisited her memories. And Sanso did all that stage playing with the sinners and everything to try and reawaken her memories so that Sancho would come back. So the Don Quixote the sinner, the first one, stopped there. And then came Don Quixote the new sinner, which is a mix of Sancho and the Don Quixote, an entirely new character. So she is a mess internally, psychologically. This will be relevant because 18 when Sansa was actually revealed that the Papa don't invite from P Corporation's future trying to ensure it flows flow and blue now. Yep, it's true. Sure. I should hold fast. There we go. Alright, we can start doing damage now.
복잡스럽게 모가지부터 거시기 해보는 것이.
In any case, we gotta sit down and wait to see what the deal with the Blue Man Group is. Because the Blue Man Group in the first Ruina was Argalia and his boy band trying to get the light for their own reasons. Well, the Blue Man Group now seems different, and it has to do something with the outskirts and the nebulae or the stars, so we're about to see how that goes. My idea is that they are maybe individuals of either great power, great worth, or great knowledge that have escaped and flourished somehow in the outskirts. At least we forget some singularities, not all of them, I think all of them, they come from the outskirts. Someone made a wish in the outskirts and we got the tearful thing to make the, the tears that heal people. And then K-Corp came in there and said, you know what would be crazy? Why don't we harvest that in industrial quantities, huh? That would be fun. I was winning solo Rodia, but I had one single bad luck in 413. Surprise boss. Trying to do the surprise bosses with souls, unless you have several turns of self-revive, is going to be difficult. Because the new bosses, the new secret bosses, they hit quite hard. So unless you have several gifts to self-revive or an ego that can save you, it's going to be rather difficult to survive the first few turns. I do wish there was a solo mode, official solo mode we could play, where you start the fight with additional slots instead of having to ramp up. It was Dulcinea. Dulcinea has always been difficult.
너무 쉽잖아.
He's back. Blushi Iseng is back. Ideal. He has been brought back into the world now that he's been purified. Purified, I think we threw him into the washing machine. I think after we're done with this run, we have probably revealed every single Season 1 ID. Yeah, every single Season 1 ID I think will be complete after him. Don't even try. Don't even try. She makes nonsense acronyms on purpose. A bath would have saved Yiseng, probably. Remember, I don't know if you were here for the book reading, Kyleb, for Yiseng's selected works, but Yiseng from the Wings is a bit of a goblin. And yeah, he's literally like a chud little goblin living in his goon cave. He doesn't wash, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't eat properly, he doesn't want to see sunlight, he doesn't go outside. If Yiseng was purely based off that book, I would lose all respect he had. Do you like the ArcCorp IDs, Mr. Evil Streamer Man? Evil Streamer Man? I do like the ArcCorp IDs. They're fun, and we still were promised a Gregor ArcCorp ID that we never got. Where is it? It has been promised to us. Change our gain a sinking or tell the truth. We'll tell the truth. Give me your curriculum vitae. And we're gonna avoid that because we can. Oh, this guy. We can kill him easily, and we get a very good gift out of him.
이게 선택일까?
I wish we had more ArcCorp IDs because, frankly, we are not getting enough standard fare IDs. We need more of them. I like the standard fare IDs. I like to see them as this. If you don't have anything else, you always have these available for you. So, alright, let's dodge him. Because seasonal IDs are fun and all, but he failed. Seasonal IDs are fun and all, but I want to do more standard fare IDs because I think that's the best one idea because you have these guys. These are going to be your base guys. Whatever you do, whatever season you're starting, if you can always, shard them. So if you ever have a problem, you can always fall back and rely on them. He failed the dodge. I failed both dodges, that's why I stacked two of them.
아야, 거기서 그러고 있으면 뭐가지 똑 떨어져야? 저 짝도 힘이 안 된 게 머리를 쓸란 것인 게.
Right, you have to dodge this, boy. If you don't, you are cooked.
박살내주마.
Very nice.
이야, 당연히 그 시기 해야지.
I'm sorry, Plushy saying, but we read the book and yeah.
느낌이 오잖아.
All right, he dodged it. Good, 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 good. Not gonna happen, buddy. Not gonna get caught like a little claw machine. I am not a marketable plushie.
그런 것들을 갖다 내진 않았겠지.
Anyway, if he's saying the character from Limbus was going to be entirely based off the wings, I would have lost all my respect for him by reading the book. But this is an amalgam of the actual person and several of his texts. It's a little bit more bearable. And, you know, he had a character transformation, so that's nice. New Yiseng is a happy little boy that has found his wings. And everybody loves him. And, yeah, you know, it's quite harrowing to see someone in the depth of depression actually crawl out of that hole and try to find a new meaning in life. I did that. I went through that journey, but not as dramatic, and I didn't stab anyone in the chest to do so. Sure, I still have my down moments, but I found my peace. I found my inner peace.
머리다.
Bam, 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 bam. I'm gonna mark this down as another page collected for our book reading today. Kill him.
머리통 박살내주마.
아, 근데 잘못했지? 뭐말 안 해도 알아서 잘하구만.
Where's my plushy Bong Bong, speaking of? Time to put her on string again. There we go. She's a little dirty, but she's quite old. But look at her. I need to throw her in the washing machine, but I fear if I throw her in the washing machine, she's gonna come out like everything's gonna come off of her. It's not like a high quality work. It's just something I bought from someone that make this kind of dolls. But in between living in filth or risking, oh my god, charge type glove. It was just there. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, and more skill power. All right, that was a good catch. I am liable to sell some gift now. I am going to sell the rupture stuff that we have that is not very good, so we can enhance our charge stuff that we just got. So we traded one for the other, and if we can get wrist guards as well, that's going to be great. So let's see. Let's enhance to PS system with its maximum power and this one. And finally, we're gonna try and fuse for a tier 1 charge gift. Gonna take this. Ooh, what else we can take here? We don't need this. We already generate our own. A little bit of wish making, and give me the wrist guard. Give me the wrist guard. Yeah. Can we upgrade it? We can't upgrade it again unless we sell something. We could sell the stone tomb. It's not very good. It's just extra poise. And if you can get this to maximum power, that would be great. We can also sell the scissors because honestly, it only applies to the 6 deployed identity. The physical enhancement eagles are kind of weird. And we get extra damage. They don't need to upgrade that one actually. And this one can't be upgraded right now. All right, our Mexican are gonna get a powerful aura of strength. I like these things. Sprite of him smiling, like bro looks so happy. Yeah, it's such a good wholesome smile. It's you, the cringe ass baby. Let's dodge you.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Ah, you failed the dodge. I think I can survive taking a few hits. Yeah, we survived. We did good. All right, here are we going to do. Can we do harmony? Doesn't have enough attack weight. No, it doesn't. How about Tears of Tarnished Blood? Does it have enough attack weight to hit everything here? It has enough to hit 2 of 3 of them. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. It's probably not going to be enough, but we're going to try it anyway. Ah, not enough. He's gonna get giga buffed.
담배 떠차서 힘들 뻔했잖아.
What an unfortunate. What, how unfortunate, how unfortunate. We're gonna have to dodge. Yeah, he's gonna get giga buffed. Ooh, this is not gonna be. This is not gonna be fun. And come on, come on. There we go.
머리통을 박살내주마.
It's so funny, this little hand coming out and yoop. All right, boy, you got all the buffs in the world in your denka. All right, let's see how you tangle. All right, hold on. Yeah, let's do Camus wailing first. First crash, and then the second one is going to be that one. And then it doesn't matter which the third one is, we can do this one. And we can slot in another evade for full resonance and gain more shield too.
박살내주마.
There we go. Two of the times Blood Sinclair is such a strange little ego, it's not really bad, but its price rarely feels worthwhile outside of your dungeon. It doesn't do enough for a while, I feel. Really nice animation though. Yeah, it's... Oh, I think it's another one that falls under a spiritually something, although I dislike using the term of spiritually double O or something like that. There's no other way to talk about certain things as it is spiritually that. It's a WoW that doesn't feel like a WoW. Because usually WoWs are incredibly powerful. Or they should be, because they are literally a WoW, so they are meant to be a powerful little thing, right?
머리통을 박살내주마. 너무 쉽잖아.
Cool.
당연히 그 시기 해야지. 그런 것은 착 보면 뭘 써야 하는지 딱 느낌이 오잖아요. 예?
It's strictly a he level ego.
이 새끼들 만들라고 했던 것이
Alright, give me my sanity back.
되는 거였나 싶어.
I used an ego, I want my sanity back. God damn it. I just wait rate that one.
박살내주마.
Because the part is gonna deal with it. Alright. And now I do believe we have it locked to clash fully against you.
옛날에 외부 강사로 뛰던 것이 생각나네.
Can we clash? It's all neutrals. I don't like neutrals. But neutrals it is. Hold on. Let me try something fancy. Let me try to be fancy here. 1 second. First attack is going to be that one, right? And if I put a evade right in front of it, I don't think I can evade a counter, but I'm gonna try.
머리통을 박살내.
Doesn't this feel like a wall? Just feels like it was intended to be a free battle pass reward. Take key saying great trick. Because it's not bad, quite strong, but kind of makes it units at all. Or we also get such a strong wall. I do suppose that's the case. Yeah, it's a freebie. And again, gotcha game there, trying to make money.
화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
So the free reward is never going to be as strong as the paid reward. That's that. Look at the oil on this German Mexican boy. All right, kill Abaddon.
머리통을
Abaddon is currently armless. We're gonna do this several times now, Wayward Passenger. It's going to hurt. I'm gonna mark this down as a page collected for our book today. One more time, one more time. Bang, bang. And there we go. He danced with the best of them, but unfortunately his dance was not good enough.
고생들이었다.
Visually, I think that Yu Seng's Trilio Cross is the better looking one compared to Ryoshu. Alright, we are plus point power for Spectral Contract. Ow. Fine, I'll take it. Grand welcome, sure. And now you come the fuck on. Screw you, Murder Dungeon. I took a plus coin power, which is something I never do, and you hit me with that after? Come the fuck on. No, I'm not going to the dream ending, and I'm not fighting Rufo. We're going for the Fat Man. Right, first node. Let's do for a focus counter, because I can dodge those.
옳은 선택일까?
느껴지지? 저것들이 아까부터 으르렁대는 거.
Alright, first attack is gonna be that one. I can dodge it. There we go.
머리통을 박살내주마.
First attack is gonna be that one, so I can dodge it. Very nice, very cool. And then we clash against that one, and I should be good to go. I've been originally trying to play Michael, what was it? Michael Punk, I think it was. It's certainly a game. It is trying to be like Deep Rock Helldivers at the same time, and I don't think they're pulling that combo off very well because, well, it's the mission control guy was pretty cool, and everything else felt a little off. It's early access, so they can fix it, but the enemies lack any sauce to them, you know, because the enemies are supposed to be like this fungi that takes over machinery, kind of like the Flood from Halo. But here the trick is that when you kill them, they drop their body parts in the ground, and other enemies can pick up those the battle parts and put it on them and grow bigger and stronger as you kill more enemies. So you start with a horde and then you whittle them down and it's the strong enemy at the end. But the way they look, and they kind of feel like I'm fighting Gmod props that decided to attack me. It was a fine game though. Maybe one day I'll give it another try, but it wasn't for me for this time around. And I'm desperately looking for a game to play together with my friends once one of them come back from travel.
너무 쉽잖아.
우리를 아주 박살내버렸시야. 화끈한 맛이 아주 딱이야.
Alright, this battle is taking a while because it is the Catalans and they are presumably against fucking everything because lost the Catalans are. Shit, it feels like the battle pass is super strong. 9 Zotas in the Karma, so we're amazing. Wow. Yeah. But then again, I feel like they're catching on to more like the usual tactics of such gachas and other paid games where we can't give the best or a good reward for the free pass. You gotta get the free one, right? Again, gacha game. Their goal is to make money. Let's never forget that. We can still enjoy it, but let's never forget the fact. It's like smoking or drinking. You pick up a pack of cigarettes or a cigar like I do, and there's like this giant warning that, hey, remember, you were smoking this, that this thing causes cancer. Or drink responsibly, and there's a giant label in there. Same thing here. I enjoyed the hell out of Limbus. The story is great, but there's this big sticker that says, hey, this is a gacha game. Don't forget that. We can ignore the sticker, sure, but it's still there. I still much prefer if Limbus was a single player, but, well...
너무 쉽잖아. 자. 너무 쉽잖아.
Come on, finish this off, boy. That's another page we collect for our book reading.
놀만치 노른 것 같은 게.
Looks like it's not gonna be as many as before. Which is fine by me.
고생들이었다.
Every time my PM done it has goodness, you can really man. Mid-60s on the battle page. They're supposed to be beautiful. I can't even show they pick it. Yeah, especially since the story is going to progress and the stakes are gonna get raised higher and higher. They are going to have to do more powerful egos. I don't want to fight you. Give me your thing. Here, take this. I'll do a little piñata dance in front of you. Let's shake my maracas. Oh, we're fighting Glupo, huh? Interesting. Ooh, can we get lucky? Will he be the chosen one? Is the German boy lucky? Nah, he ain't. Let's fight Glupo, and then there's another unfocused encounter. So that's 2 more pages we have to collect, and then the 3rd one for the boss. That's gonna leave us with 17 pages today. Not bad, but not great either. 17 pages is still a lot to read, so it kind of increases the duration of the stream by a lot.
맞았냐?
Alright, boy, time to cry.
자국 없이 실족하고 있을까?
머리통을
I'm
박살.
just gonna get started with the sanity lost early. I mean, they can always dial back the eagles and give her some, you know, weaker eagles, but that's not gonna happen, especially for battle passes.
없어요.
No. Then if we got the EX Eagle gift with base rodeo solo run, yeah, that would be lucky as hell.
이번에는 재미 좀 보는다. 자들 더 생각이 있으면
머리통을 박살.
Alright, go Corral, boy.
얘기는 안 했겠지.
You have just become rare now. Igor and Bennett are rare. 0-0 are dead. Thunder Bennett are mid. You will consume your seasonal slop. We'll see. I do believe they're going through a transitional period right now where, well, I'll be honest, the Arknights collab probably put a big wrench in their plans. That's my guess of it. Alright, frog fight. Have you ever seen frogs fight? They don't have teeth, they don't have claws, some of them have poison, but now we have 2 frogs fighting each other. frog violence. Yeah, I think the Arknight Eagle put a really big wrench in their plans. It has been a while now, they probably have time to restructure. But remember that they are building a office. They're trying to move to have this big office only for themselves, so maybe that is getting in the way of them doing the things they want. Unless that the director plans all along to, you know, kill 0-0 because he doesn't like them and have Eagles be rarer and rarer. Again, he's not, Limbus company, for as big as it is not rolling a, what's it called? It's not rolling like a professional studio. He said many times, that he wants to run it like a treehouse club, you know? Very unprofessional, very casual, like unprofessional, like a bad thing, but he just wants to have fun and do his thing. So that's what he's doing. If he decides that I don't want to do so many eagles now, he's not going to do so many eagles. So we are going to end up frustrating if we put these expectations on him, which we are absolutely correct to put those expectations on him. It is a product that we are playing, but the way he's approaching this is, you know, I want to do whatever the hell I please, and I'm going to do whatever the hell I please. So we have to keep that in mind. That's the expectation we must keep it in the, you know, in the back of our brain pans here. Just, yeah, he's gonna do whatever he wants. This isn't like a, this isn't your average gacha, you see? This isn't your average gacha. The TEO goes live on his VTuber avatar. This ain't your normal gacha. So we have to keep that in mind. It's his show, he's running however he wants. We might disagree with him, but no matter how much we bitch about it, no matter how much we dislike it, and we complain about it, he was probably not going to change it. He tried to, you know, placate people before, and he failed miserably. Let's remember the Vomori dilemma, let's remember Mouse, and probably a few others that I am forgetting. So there is that. We have to remember that he's not very good at dealing with that. And as per his last stream that I watched, the one with the avatar, he said, I no longer care about pleasing anyone. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want because I have money, I have terrain, I have paid for my employees' retirement, and I could have just sold the game to China and made a fortune out of it, but I decided not to, so I get to choose however the fuck I'm gonna do things. Then if you don't like it, leave. That's not his exact words, but very, very similar. just leave. I'm gonna still be doing my thing here, and if you like it, you'll do. If you don't, go away. I also need standard banners. I want more. I like I said, I want 0/0s and standard banners by extension because they give me more lore on the world itself, which I use on my tabletop to, you know, expand on the things that I can do or can throw at my players.
옛날에 외부 강사로 뛰던 것이 생각나네. 한 놈만 잡아주라.
머리통을 박살내주마.
When the German boy cries.
모든 슬픔과 눈물을 끌어모아 대신 물어드릴 수 있다면
다음은 머리다.
I have been muted. I like when the German boy cries. Whatever. Again, I do try to ignore someone. Do apologize for the sound in the background. There's a good mindset. I won't agree with everything he does, but I can also hear that I'm super active against. Getting a hang of running a gap now, it looks nice. I'm doing better than ever. Indeed. He also have said several times, I don't know why so many people like it. It's almost like he made a good product and he's running it a different, not as scummy way as the other companies. At least he's being honest that, yeah, I made this to make money. I made this to, you know, fund the anime, fund the fighting game or whatever he wants to do. I expect good things in the future. God, so far he's been doing pretty good, so hopes he can keep it up. Little more cavernous waiting. I like when the German boy cries.
박살내주마.
모든 슬픔과
Right. With this node, we're gonna be hitting 16 pages, I believe. Did I count loophole page? Yeah. And then there's gonna be the boss, that's 17 pages. And yeah, I think that's the dungeon. There's gotta be the final boss now, right? It's gonna be the fat man. It's gonna be Mexican German boy stinging and swinging the Mariachis around for the fat guy. How long is Lob Corp 2 or whatever LPM is working on? He did say on the stream that he wants to add more things to Limbus company while it's running, like modular games. Like they have the Limbus engine, so you plug in another game into it. So there might be a possibility we get other game modes or other game types inside of Limbus company as like a big shared thing. He did it as a maybe, you know, maybe. But it would be pretty nice. Imagine we have like an alternate game mode where we literally play Lob Corp, but it's Limbus company research with Hohenheim. Nice little tremor burst, buddies. Problem, I don't have a stagger bar.
머리통을 박살내주마.
It's still crazy to think these guys I'm fighting right now, they're supposed to be like the nest citizens of T-Corp. Because T-Corp is London, literally, down to the poverty inside of the nest itself, and it's supposed to be the nice area of the district, because it's a nest. Other Project Moon games start with the letter L, correct? Yeah, Lob Corp, Library Ruina, and Limbus Company. Alright, let's get into the shop. Carmilla is going to be useless because it's not going to be a focus encounter. Unfocused encounter, I mean. Let's get another Penata Party. Let's enhance the Charge Gauntlet. Here we go. Charge Gauntlet empowered. So it has this on as well because that's good. We haven't got Calm Water yet. See if you can get it. I don't think we're gonna need these. We don't use Tremor. We don't use Tremor, so put that thing in there. We don't need that many ego generating resources here. Look at me getting a rock. Oh no, we got the stuff. Good. That means we're gonna do damage now. Good damage. We're already doing pretty damn pretty damn good damage. We're gonna do pretty better damage now. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Jake, rattle and roll. fat man, I have come.
으쌰. 대가리에 총 맞아.
We are going to fight now.
왜
머리통을 박살내주마.
I love this abnormality. He's so charismatic. It's always nice to have an abnormality that actually talks, and you can talk to him. And he's like, "Hey, you want to get drunk, boy? You want to drink? Let's drink."
무엇을 그렇게 깝깝하게 쳐다만
We can start clashing now. Yeah.
머리통을 박살내주마.
I know they're like supposed to be predatory creatures, like the fairies. Like they feed you so they can eat you later, but still, it's pretty nice. Even it's a fake, what's it called? No, what's called? Fake kindness. It's still kindness, you know, in some degree. As long as you're aware, don't get fooled by it. It's fake kindness, still kindness, some degree.
무엇을 그렇게 깝깝하게 쳐다만 보고 있고 그런다냐? 저런 놈들은 칼질 세 번이나
Right?
했어요.
Here we go.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Right, this turn we gotta break the fingers, so we get drunk next turn. Drunken Sinclair, he's a violent drunk, never forget that.
보고 있고 그런다냐?
박살내주마.
저런 놈들은 칼질 세 번이나 탔어요.
I was thinking I got the facade for Sinclair, that for Ren Sinclair, Pinky Sinclair, to use it over the Blade Lineage one, because I think it would be fitting. Alright, then the part where we lose the Clash on
내가
purpose.
벌써 눈이 침침해졌는가? 내만 내다가 칼을 갖다 봤더니
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the second one, got it.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Then drunk, you don't get to damage me. You take 5 damage instead.
그러지. 그것은 특이하게 갖다 써야지. 별로 어려울 것도 없잖아.
Keep shaking those maracas, little boy. Ah, stagger.
보자.
Alright, let's hit the damage button and get an absolute resonance out of it.
그렇게 깝깝하게 쳐다만 보고 있고 그런다냐? 저런
자.
우리를 아주 박살내버리시오.
Get me out of Tailstown.
낙이야.
자.
Look at him go.
Valeu, galera.
Alright, give me your drink. I'm not asking, give me your booze. Give me your booze.
아까 절단을 내놓은 게 인자사 좀 볼만하구먼. 정신 못 차릴 때
Give me your drink.
죽인다. 알겠지?
Alright, the rest is pure damage now. Kill the fat man. $17 offense level up, 4 power up, 6 haste, 3 power up for the smoking pipe as well, and a bunch of damage ups. It's going pretty well. Now, would be able to maintain this power on the later levels. Proud enough. Did I hear someone talking? Yes, you did. Like I said many times, I do share this room with someone else. I do apologize, but there are no quality in this tree as well there's no skill. Alright, that completes the mirror dungeon. The 5 floors that have been promised. I will not go further than that because we have some book reading to do. Now, let's check that damage.
한없이 유쾌했죠.
Pretty nice. And with that, we also completed all of the Season 1 IDs. Now, let's check that out before I proceed to the book reading. Just put my desk fan somewhere else so that I can get out because I do need to go to the bathroom before we start our reading. So, we can check the release order of IDs on the identity selector. And if we go over here, let me trash this theme because I'm not going to use him anymore. All identities, we filter them by recent, click it twice, and we can get them in order of release. So we have done the Chi Association, we have done the Blade Lineage, we have done the Liu Association, Lobotomy Corp Reverend Faust was yesterday, the LCB was some time ago, 7 Association was also done, the G Corp was done when I did the mistake to get Lei Hang, Kurokumo Clan I've done several times, W Corp I've done a few times already. Then proceeding, R Corp we did not so long ago, N Corp we also did some time ago, Blade Lineage, Y Association South Section 6 we did some time ago as well, so they have been revealed. W Corp we already done, we just did Los Mariachis Jefe, we have done Chef de Cuisine Gregor and Otis, we have done 7 Association, we have done Think Tank Gang Leader and Corp we have already done. X up, tomorrow we're gonna do the Rose Spanner Workshop. That's right, and after that, we're gonna do the Technology Liberation Alliance. So, I have to go to the bathroom real quick. In the meantime, I want you all to get yourselves comfortable because it is Mersault book reading time. So I will be right back. Now, if you're only here for the gameplay, now is the time to leave. If you want to catch up to some story time with why Mersault shot an Arab man on the beach for no reason and how he's gonna be judged for it, stick around. I'll be right back. I am coming back. I am right here. I'm opening up the book. Just give me a moment. Now the book should be open right here or somewhere. There we go. There's book. And then we need to put book on screen. Book on screen. Book on screen. Yeah. Then I need my face back on. Yeah. And here we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are comfortable. We have collected 17 pages of the Mersault book. So we are currently at page 38. That means we are going to be stopping at page 55 of 71. So we have quite a journey to go ahead until page 55. Let me just check something here. And right. So last we left off on Mersault's book, he shot a man on the beach. He was out with his friend on the beach, and because that guy had a fight with a girl because he was kind of an asshole, the girl's sister came back to try and shank him, and then they got into a fight. And Emerson, because it was hot, was wandering the beach with a gun, loaded gun, and they saw the guy lay on the ground, and then caught him. Let's begin then. I was questioned several times immediately after my arrest, but they were all formal examinations as to my identity and so forth. At first of these, which took place at the police station, nobody seemed to have much interest in the case. However, when I was brought before the examining magistrate a week later, I noticed that he eyed me with distinct curiosity. Like the others, he began asking my name, address, and occupation, the date and the place of my birth. Then he inquired if I had chosen a lawyer to defend me. I answered, no, I haven't thought about it, and asked him if it was really necessary for me to have one. Why do you ask that? He said. I replied that I regarded my case as very simple. He smiled. Well, it may seem so to you, but you've got to abide by the law, and if you don't engage a lawyer, the court will have to appoint one for you. It struck me as an excellent arrangement that the authorities should see the details of this kind, and I told him so. He nodded and agreed that the code was all that could be desired. At first, I didn't take him quite seriously. The room in which he interviewed me was much like an ordinary sitting room, with curtained windows and a single lamp standing on the desk. Its light fell on the armchair in which he had me sit, while his own face stayed in shadow. I had read descriptions of such scenes in books, and at first it all seemed like a game. After our conversation, however, I had a good look at him. He was a tall man with clean-cut features, deep-set blue eyes, and a big gray mustache, and abundant, almost snow-white hair, and he gave me the impression of being highly intelligent and, on the whole, likable enough. There was only one thing that put me off. His mouth had now and then a rather ugly twist, but it seemed to me only a sort of nervous tick. When leaving, I very nearly held out my hand and said, goodbye. Just in time, I remembered that I killed a man. Next day, a lawyer came to my cell, a small, plump, youngish man with sleek black hair. In spite of the heat, I was in my shirt sleeves. He was wearing a dark suit, stiff collar, and a rather showy tie, with broad black and white stripes. After depositing his briefcase on my bed, he introduced himself and added that he'd peruse the record of my case with the utmost care. His opinion was that it would need cautious handling, but there was every prospect of my getting off, provided I followed his advice. I thanked him and he said, good, now let's get down to it. Oh, I forgot to write something down here. Let me do that real quick. So, page 38 plus 17, that's 40, 50, 53? 53. 40 plus 7, that's 55, you dumb boy. Anyway, continue. Good, let's get down to it. Sitting on the bed, he said that they'd been making investigations into my private life. They had learned that my mother died recently in the home. Inquiries had been conducted at Marengo, and the police informed that I'd shown great callousness at my mother's funeral. You must understand, the lawyer said, that I don't relish having to question you about such a matter, but it had much importance, and unless I found some way of answering the charge of callousness, I shall be handicapped in conducting your defense, and that is where you and only you can help me. He went on to ask if I had felt grief on that sad occasion. The question struck me as an odd one. I'd have been much embarrassed if I had to ask anyone a thing like that. I answered that of recent years I'd rather lost the habit of noting my feelings and hardly knew what to answer. I could truthfully say that I'd been quite fond of mother, but really that didn't mean much. All normal people, I added as an afterthought, had more or less desire the death of those they loved at some time or another. Here the lawyer interrupted me, looking greatly perturbed. You must promise me not to say anything of that sort at the trial or to the examining magistrate. I promised to satisfy him, but I explained that my physical condition at any given moment often influenced my feelings. For instance, on the day I attended mother's funeral, I was fagged out and only half awake. So really, I hardly took stock of what was happening. Anyhow, I could assure him that one thing, that the rather mother hadn't died. The lawyer, however, looked displeased. That's not enough, he said curtly. After considering for a bit, he asked me if I could say that on that day I had kept my feelings under control. No, I said, that wouldn't be true. He gave me a queer look, as if I slightly revolted him, then informed me, in an almost hostile tone, that In any case, the head of the home and some of the staff would be cited as witness, and that might do you a very nasty turn, he concluded. When I suggested that mother's death had no connection with the charge against me, he merely replied that this remark told me I'd never had any dealings with the law. Soon after this, he left, looking quite vexed. I wished he had stayed longer and I could have explained that I desired his sympathy. Not for him to make a better job of my defense, but if I might put it so, spontaneously. I could see that I got on his nerves, he couldn't make me out, and naturally enough, this irritated him. Once or twice, I had a mind to assure him that I was just like everybody else, quite an ordinary person. But really, that would have served no great purpose. And I let it go, out of laziness as much as anything else. Later in the day, I was taken again to the examining magistrate office. It was 2 in the afternoon, and this time the room was flooded with light. There was only a thin curtain on the window and extremely hot. After inviting me to sit down, the magistrate informed me in a very polite tone that, owing to unforeseen circumstances, my lawyer was unable to be present. I should be quite entitled, he added, to reserve my answer to his questions until my lawyer could attend. To this I replied that I could answer for myself. He pressed the bell push on his desk and a young clerk came in and seated himself just behind me. Then I and the magistrate, settled back in our chairs and the examination began. He led off by remarking that I had the reputation of being a taciturn, rather self-centered person, and he'd like to know what I had to say to that. I answered, well, I rarely have anything much to say, so naturally I keep my mouth shut. He smiled, as on the previous occasion, and agreed that was the best of reasons. In any case, he added, it has little or no importance. After a short silence, he suddenly leaned forward, looked me in the eyes, and said, raising his voice a little, what really interests me is you. I wasn't quite clear what he meant, so I made no comment. There are several things, he continued, that puzzle me about your crime. I feel sure that you will help me to understand them. When I replied that really was quite simple, he asked me to give him an account of what I'd done that day. As a matter of fact, I had already told him at our first interview. In a summary sort of way, of course, about Raymond, the beach, or Swin, the fight, then the beach again, and the 5 shots I'd fired. But I went over it all again, and after each phrase he nodded. Quite so, quite so. When I described the body lying on the sand, he nodded more emphatically, and said, good, I was tired of repeating the same story. I felt as if I'd never talked so much in all my life before. After another silence, he stood up and said he'd like to help me. I interested him, and with God's help, he would do something for me in my trouble. But first, he must put a few more questions. He began by asking bluntly if I'd loved my mother. Yes, I replied, like everybody else. The clerk behind me, who had been typing away at a steady pace, must just then have hit the wrong keys, as I heard him pushing the carrier back and crossing something out. Next, without any apparent logical connections, the magistrate sprang another question. Why did you fire 5 consecutive shots? I thought for a bit, then explained that they weren't quite consecutive. I fired 1 at first and the other 4 after a short interval. Why did you pause between the first and second shot? I seemed to see it hovering again before my eyes, the red glow of the beach, and to feel that fiery breath on my cheeks, and this time I made no answer. During the silence that followed, the magistrate kept fidgeting, running his fingers through his hair, half rising then sitting down again. Finally, planting his elbows on the desk, he bent toward me with a queer expression. But why? Why did you go on firing at a prostrate man? Again, I found nothing to reply. The magistrate drew his hand across his forehead and repeated in a slight different tone. I ask you, why? I insist on you telling me. I still kept silent. Suddenly he rose, walked to a file cabinet standing against the opposite wall, pulled the drawer open and took from it a silver crucifix, which he was waving as he came back to the desk. Do you know who this is? His voice had changed completely. It was vibrant with emotion. Of course I do, I answered. That seemed to start him off. He began speaking at a great pace. He told me he believed in God and that even the worst of sinners could obtain forgiveness of him. But first he must repent and become like a child, with a simple, trustful heart, open to conviction. He was leaning right across the table, brandishing his crucifix before my eyes. As a matter of fact, I had great difficulty in following his remarks. For one thing, the office was so stiflingly hot, and big flies were buzzing around and settling on my cheeks. Also because he rather alarmed me. Of course, I realized it was absurd to feel like this, considering that, after all, it was I who was the criminal. However, as he continued talking, I did my best to understand, and I gathered up that there were only one point in my confession that badly needed clearing up. The fact that I'd waited before firing a second time. All the rest was, so to speak, quite in order, but that completely baffled him. I started to tell him that he was wrong in insisting on this. The point was of quite minor importance. But before I could get the words out, he had drawn himself up to his full height and was asking me very earnestly if I believed in God. When I said no, he plumped down into his chair indignantly. That was unthinkable, he said. All men believe in God, even those who reject him. Of this he was absolutely sure. If ever he came to doubt it, his life would lose all meaning. Do you wish, he asked indignantly, my life to have no meaning? Really, I couldn't see how my wishes came into it, and I told him as much. While I was talking, he thrust the crucifix again just under my nose and shouted, I, anyhow, am a Christian, and I pray him to forgive you for your sins, my poor young man. Now, how can you not believe that he suffered for our sake? I noticed that his manner seemed genuinely solicitous when he said, my poor young man, but I was beginning to have enough of it. The room was growing steadily hotter. As I usually do when I want to get rid of someone whose conversation bores me, I pretend to agree. At which, rather to my surprise, his face lit up. You see, now you won't own that you believe and put your trust in him? I must have shaken my head again, for he sank back into his chair, looking limp and dejected. For some moments there was a silence, during which the typewriter, which had been clicking away all the time we talked, caught up with the last remark. Then he looked at me intently and rather sadly. Never in all my experience have I known a soul so case-hardened as yours, he said in a low tone. All the criminals who have come before me until now wept when they saw this symbol of our Lord's suffering. I was on the point of replying that was precisely because they were criminals, but then I realized that I too came under that description. Somehow it was an idea to which I never could get reconciled. To indicate presumably that the interview was over, the magistrate stood up. In the same wary tone, he asked me as a last question. Did I regret what I had done? After thinking for a bit, I said that what I felt was less regret than a kind of vexation. I couldn't find a better word for it, but he didn't seem to understand. This was as far as things went at that day's interview. I came before the magistrate many times more, but on those occasions my lawyer always accompanied me. The examinations were confined to ask me to amplify any of my previous statements, or else the magistrate and my lawyer discussed technicalities. At such times they took very little notice of me, and in any case the tone of the examinations changed as time went on. The magistrate seemed to have lost interest in me and to have come to some sort of decision about my case. He never mentioned God again or displayed any of the religious fervor I had found so embarrassing at our first interview. The result was that our relations became more cordial. After a few questions followed by an exchange of remarks with the lawyer, the magistrate closed the interview. My case was taking its course, as he put it. Sometimes, too, the conversation was a general order, and the magistrate and lawyer encouraged me to join in. I began to breathe more freely. Neither of the two men at this time showed the least hostility towards me, and everything went so smoothly, so amiably, that I had the absurd impression of being one of the family. I can honestly say that during the 11 months these examinations lasted, I got so used to them that I was almost surprised at having ever enjoyed anything better than those rare moments when the magistrate, after escorting me to the door of the office, would pat my shoulder and say in a friendly tone, "Well, Mr. Antichrist, that's all for the present." After which I was made over to my jailers. There are some things which I never care to talk, and a few days after being sent to prison, I decided that this phase of my life was none of them. However, as time went by, I came to feel that this aversion had no real substance. In point of fact, during those early days, I was hardly conscious of being in prison. I had always a vague hope that something would turn up, some agreeable surprise. The change came soon after Marie's first and only visit. From the day when I got her letter telling me they wouldn't let her come see me anymore, because she wasn't my wife. It was from that day that I realized that this cell was my last home, a dead end, so to speak. On the day of my arrest, they put me in a biggish room with several other prisoners, mostly Arabs. They grinned when they saw me enter and asked what I had done. I told them I killed an Arab, and they kept mum for a while. But presently, night began to fall, and one of them explained to me how to lay out my sleeping mat. By rolling up one end makes a sort of bolster. All night, I felt bugs crawling over my face. Some days later, I was put by myself in a cell, where I slept on plank bed hinged to the wall. The only other furniture was a latrine bucket and a tin basin. The prison stands on rising ground, and through my little window I had glimpses of the sea. One day when I was hanging out on the bars, straining my eyes toward the sunlight playing on the waves, a jailer entered and said I had a visitor. I thought it was the Marie, and so it was. To go to the visitor's room, I had taken along a corridor, then up a flight of steps, then along another corridor. It was a very large room lit by a big bow window and divided into 3 compartments, high iron grills running transversely. Between the 2 grills there was a gap of some 30 feet, a sort of no man's land between the prisoners and their friends. I was led to a point exactly opposite of Marie, who was wearing her striped dress. On my side of the rails were about a dozen other prisoners, Arabs for the most part. On Marie's side were mostly Moorish women. She was wedged between a small old woman with tight-set lips and a fat matron without a hat, who was talking shrilly and gesticulated all the time. Because of the distance between the visitors and prisoners, I found I, too, had to raise my voice. I noticed a prison official seated at each end of the no man's land, between the grills. The native prisoners and their relations on the other side were squatting opposite each other. They didn't raise their voices and, in spite of the din, managed to converse almost in whispers. This murmur of voices coming from below made a sort of accompaniment to the conversations going on above their heads. I took stock of all of it and very quickly and moved a step toward Marie. She was pressing her brown, sun-tanned face to the bars and smiling as hard as she could. I thought she was looking very pretty, but somehow couldn't bring myself to tell her so. "Well," she asked, pitching her voice very high. "What about it? Are you all right? Have you everything you want?" "Oh yes, I've everything I want." We were silent for some moments. Marie went on smiling. The fat woman was bawling at the prisoner beside me, her husband presumably a tall, fair, pleasant-looking man. "Jane refused to have him," she yelled. "That's just too bad," the man replied. "Yes, and I told her you'd take him back the moment you got out, but she wouldn't hear of it." Marie shouted across the gap that Raymond sent me his best wishes, and I said thanks, but my voice was drowned out by my neighbors asking if he was quite fit. The fat woman gave a laugh. "Fit? I should say he is, the picture of health." Meanwhile, the prisoner on my left, a youngster with thin, girlish hands, never said a word. His eyes, I noticed, were fixed on the little old woman opposite of him, and she returned his gaze with a short, hungry passion. But I had to stop looking at him as Marie was shouting to me that we mustn't lose hope. "Certainly not," I answered. My gaze fell on her shoulders, and I had a sudden longing to squeeze them. Through the thin dress, its silky texture fascinated me, and I had a feeling that the hope she spoke of centered on it, somehow. I imagined something of the same sort was in Marie's mind, for she went on smiling, looking straight at me. All I could see of her now was the white flash of her teeth and the little puckers around her eyes. I answered, "Do you really think so?" But chiefly because I felt it up to me to answer something. She started talking very fast in the same high-pitched voice. "Yes, you'll be acquitted and we'll go bathing again Sundays." The woman beside me was still yelling away, telling her husband that she'd left a basket for him in the prison office. She gave a list of the things she'd brought and told him to mind and check again carefully, as some had cost quite a lot. The youngster on my other side and his mother were still gazing mournfully at each other, and the murmur of the Arabs droned on below us. The light outside seemed to be surging up against the window, seeping through and smearing the faces of people facing it with a coat of yellow oil. I began to feel slightly squeamish and wish I could leave. The strident voice beside me was jarring on my ears, but on the other hand, I wanted to have the most I could of Marie's company. I have no idea how much time passed. I remember Marie describing to me her work, with that sad smile always on her face. There wasn't a moment let up in the noise, shout, conversation is always that muttering undertone. The only oasis of silence was made by the young fellow and the old woman gazing into each other's eyes. Then, One by one, the Arabs were led away. Almost everyone fell silent when the first one left. The little old woman pressed herself against the bars, and at the same moment, a jailer tapped her son's shoulder. He called, "Au revoir, mother." And slipping her hand between the bars, she gave him a small, slow wave with it. No sooner was she gone than a man, hat in hand, took her place. A prisoner was led up to the empty place beside me, and the two started a brisk exchange of remarks. Not loud, however, as the room had become relatively quiet. Someone came and called away the man on my right, and his wife shouted at him. She didn't seem to realize it was no longer necessary to shout. "Now, mind you look after yourself, dear, and don't go do anything rash." My turn came next. Marie threw me a kiss. I looked back as I walked away. She hadn't moved. Her face was still pressed on the rails, her lips still parted in a tense, twisted smile. Soon after this, I had a letter from her, and it was then that the things I never liked to talk about began. Not that they were particularly terrible. I've no wish to exaggerate, and I've no wish to exaggerate, and I suffer less than others. Still, there was one thing in those early days that was really irksome. My habit of thinking like a free man, for instance. I would suddenly be seized with a desire to go down to the beach for a swim, and merely to have imagined the sound of ripples at my feet, the smooth feel of the water on my body, and I struck out, and the wonderful sensation of relief it gave brought home still more cruelly than the narrowness of my cell. Hold on, I think I need to reread that one. Hold on. And merely to have imagined the sound of ripples at my feet, the smooth feel of the water on my body as I struck out, and the wonderful sensation of relief it gave me brought home still more cruelly the narrowness of my cell. Still, that phase lasted a few months only. Afterward, I had prisoner's thoughts. I waited for the daily walk in the courtyard or a visit from my lawyer. As for the rest of the time, I managed quite well. Really, I've often thought that I had been compelled to live in the trunk of a dead tree with nothing to do but gaze up at the patch of sky just overhead. I'd gotten used to it by degrees. I'd have learned to watch for the passing of birds or drifting clouds, as I had come to watch for my lawyer's odd neckties, or in another word, to wait patiently till Sunday for a spell of lovemaking with Marie. Well, here anyhow I wasn't penned in a hollow tree trunk. There were others in the world worse off than I. I remember it had been one of Mother's pet's ideas. She was always voicing it, that in the long run, one gets used to anything. Usually, however, I didn't think things out so far. Those first months were trying, of course, but the very effort I had to make helped me through them. For instance, I was plagued by the desire for a woman, which was natural enough considering my age. I never thought of Marie especially. I was obsessed by thoughts of this woman or that, of all the ones I've had, all the circumstances under which I'd loved them, so much so that the cell grew crowded with their faces, ghosts of my old passions. That unsettled me, no doubt, but at least it served to kill time. I gradually became quite friendly with the chief jailer, who went the rounds with the kitchen hands at mealtimes. It was he who brought up the subject of women. "That's what the men here grumble about the most," he told me. I said I felt like that myself. "There's something unfair about it," I added, "like hitting a man when he's down." "But that's the whole point of it," he said. "That's why you fellows are kept in prison." I don't follow." "Liberty," he said, "means that you were being deprived of your liberty." It had never before struck me in that light, but I saw his point. "That's true," I said, "otherwise it wouldn't be a punishment." The jailer nodded. "Yes, you're different. You can use your brains. The others can't. Still, those fellows find a way out. They do it by themselves." With which remark the jailer left my cell. Next day, I did like the others. The lack of cigarettes, too, was a trial. When I was brought to the prison, they took away my belt, my shoelaces, and the contents of my pockets, including my cigarettes. Once I had been given a cell to myself, I asked to be given back, anyhow, the cigarettes. Smoking was forbidden, they informed me. That perhaps was what got me down the most. Is fact. I suffered really badly during the first few days. I even tore off splinters from my plank bed and sucked them. All day long I felt faint and bilious. It passed my understanding why I shouldn't be allowed even to smoke. It could have done no one any harm. Later on, I understood the idea behind it. This privation too was part of my punishment. But by the time I understood, I had lost the craving, so I had ceased to be a punishment. Except for those privations, I wasn't too unhappy. Yet again, the whole problem was how to kill time. After a while, however, once I'd learned the trick of remembering things, I never had a moment's boredom. Sometimes I would exercise my memory on my bedroom, and starting from a corner, make the round, noting every object I saw on the way. At first, it was over in a minute or two, but each time I repeated the experience, it took a little longer. I made a point of visualizing every piece of furniture and each article upon or in it, and then every detail of each article, and finally the details of the details, so to speak. A tiny dent or incrustation or a chipped edge, and the exact grain and color of the woodwork. At the same time, I forced myself to keep my inventory in my mind from start to finish, in the right order and omitting no item. With the result that, after a few weeks, I could spend hours merely in listing the objects in my bedroom. I found that the more I fought, the more details half forgotten or malobserved floated up from my memory. There seemed no end to them. So I learned that even after a single day's experience on the outside world, a man could easily live 100 years in prison. He'd have laid up enough memories never to be bored. Obviously, in one way, this was a compensation. Then there was sleep. To begin with, I slept badly at night and never in the day. But gradually my nights became better, and I managed to doze off in the daytime as well. In fact, during the last month, I might have slept 16 or 18 hours out of the 24. So there remained only 6 hours to fill with meals, relieving nature, my memories, and the story of the story of the Zetch. One day, when inspecting my straw mattress, I found a bit of newspaper stuck to its underside. The paper was yellow with age, almost transparent, but I could still make out the letterprint. It was the story of a crime. The first part was missing, but I gathered that the scene was some village in Czechoslovakia. One of the villagers had left his home to try his luck abroad, and after 25 years, having made a fortune, he returned to his country with his wife and child. Meanwhile, his mother and sister had been running a small hotel in the village where he was born. He decided to give them a surprise, and leaving his wife and child in another inn, he went in to stay at his mother's place, booking a room under an assumed name. His mother and sister completely failed to recognize him. At dinner that evening, he showed them a large sum of money he had on him, and in the course of the night, they slaughtered him with a hammer. After taking the money, they flung the body into the river. Next morning, his wife came and, without thinking, betrayed the guest's identity. His mother hanged herself. His sister threw herself into a well. I must have read that story thousands of times. In one way, it sounded most unlikely. In another, it was plausible enough. Anyhow, to my mind, the man was asking for trouble. One shouldn't play fool tricks of that sort. So, what with long bouts of sleep, my memories, readings of that scrap of newspaper, the tides of light and darkness, the days slipped by. I'd read, of course, that in jail one ends up losing track of time, but this had never meant anything definite to me. I hadn't grasped how days could be at once long and short. Long, no doubt, as periods to live through, but so distended that they ended up by overlapping on each other. In fact, I never thought of days as such, only the words yesterday and tomorrow still kept some meaning. When one morning, the jailer informed me I'd now been 6 months in jail, I believed him, but the words conveyed nothing to my mind. To me, it seemed like one and the same day that had been going on since I'd been in my cell, and that I'd been doing the same thing all the time. After the jailer left me, I shined up my tin panicking and studied my face in it. My expression was terribly serious. I thought even when I tried to smile, I held the panicking at different angles, but always my face had the same mournful, tense expression. The sun was setting, and it was the hour of which I'd rather not speak. The nameless hour, I called it, when evening sounds were creeping up from all the floors of the prison in a sort of stealthy procession. I went to the barred window, and in the last rays looked once again in my reflected face. It was as serious as before, and that wasn't surprising, as just when I was feeling serious. But at the same time, it was as serious as before, but that wasn't surprising, as just then I was feeling serious. But at the same time, I heard something that I hadn't heard for months. It was the sound of a voice, my own voice. There was no mistaking it, and I recognized it as the voice that for many a day of late had been sounding in my ears. So I knew that all this time I'd been talking to myself. And something I'd been told came back, a remark made by the nurse at Mother's funeral. No, there was no way out, and no one can imagine what the evenings are like in prison. On the whole, I can say that those months passed slowly. Another summer was on its way before I realized the first one was over, and I knew that with the first really hot days, something new was in store for me. My case was down for the last sessions of the Assize Court, and those sessions were due to end sometime in June. The day on which my trial started was one of brilliant sunshine. My lawyer assured me the case would take only 2 or 3 days. From what I hear, he added, the court will dispatch your case as quickly as possible, and it isn't the most important one on the cause list. There is a case of parricide immediately after, which will take some time. Then they came for me at 7:30 in the morning, and I was conveyed to the law courts in a prison van. The 2 policemen led me into a small room that smelled of darkness. We sat near a door through which came sounds of voices, shouts, chairs scraping on the floor, and a big hubbub, which reminded me of one of those small-town socials when, after the concert's over, the hall is cleared for dancing. One of my policemen told me the judges hadn't arrived yet and offered me a cigarette, which I declined. After a bit, he asked me if I was feeling nervous. I said no, and that the prospect of witnessing a trial rather interested me. I had never had the occasion to attend one. Maybe, the other policeman said, but after an hour or 2, Duns had enough of it. After a while, a small electric bell purred in the room. They unfastened my handcuffs, opened the door, and led me to the prisoner's dock. There was a great crowd in the courtroom. Though the Venetian blinds were down, light was filtering through the chinks, and the air stifling hot already. The windows had been kept shut. I sat down when the police officers took their stand on each side of my chair. It was then that I noticed a row of faces opposite to me. Those people were staring hard at me, and I guess they were the jury. But somehow I didn't see them as individuals. I felt as you do just after boarding a streetcar, and you are conscious of all the people on the opposite seat staring at you in the hope of finding something in your appearance to amuse them. Of course, I knew this was an absurd comparison. What these people were looking for in me wasn't anything to laugh at, but signs of criminality. Still, the difference wasn't so very great, and anyhow, that's the idea I got. What with the crowd and the stuffiness of the air, I was feeling a bit dizzy. I ran my eyes around the courtroom but couldn't recognize any of the faces. At first, I could hardly believe that all these people had come on my account. It was such a new experience, bringing a focus of interest. In the ordinary way, no one ever paid much attention to me. What a crush, I remarked to the policeman on my left, and he explained that the newspapers were responsible for it. He pointed to a group of men at a table just below the jury box. There they are! Who? I asked, and he replied, the press. One of them, he added, was an old friend of his. A moment later, the man he mentioned looked our way and, coming to the dock, shook hands warmly with the policeman. The journalist was an elderly man with a rather grim expression, but his manner was quite pleasant. Just then, I noticed that almost all of the people in the courtroom were greeting each other, exchanging remarks and forming groups, behaving in fact as in a club where the company of others of one's own tastes and standing makes one feel at ease. That no doubt explained the odd impression I had being the trop here, a sort of gatecrasher. However, the journalist addressed me quite amiably and said he hoped all would go well for me. I thanked him, and he added with a smile, "You know, we've been featuring you a bit. We always read a short of copy on the summer, and there's been precious little to write about except your case and the one that's coming on after. I expect you've heard about it. It's a case of parricide." He drew my attention to one of the group and the press table, a plump small man with a huge black-rimmed glasses who made me think of an overfed weasel. That fellow's the special correspondent for one of the Paris dailies. As a matter of fact, he didn't come on your account. He was sent for the parricide case, but they asked him to cover yours as well. It was on the tip of my tongue to say, that was very kind of them, but then I thought it would sound silly. With a friendly wave of his hand, he left us, and for some minutes, nothing happened. Then, accompanied by some colleagues, my lawyer bustled in his gown. He went to the press table and shook hands with the journalist. They remained laughing and chatting together, all seemingly very much at home here, until a bell rang shrilly, and everyone went to his place. My lawyer came up to me, shook hands, and advised me to answer all the questions as briefly as possible, not to volunteer information, and to rely on him to see me through. I heard a chair scrape on my lap, and a tall, thin man wearing pince-nez settled the folds of his red gown as he took his seat. The public prosecutor, I gathered, a clerk of the court, announced that their honors were entering, and at the same moment 2 big electric fans started buzzing overhead. 3 judges, 2 in black and the third in scarlet, with briefcases under their arms, entered and walked briskly to the bench, which was several feet above the level of the courtroom floor. The man in scarlet took the central high-backed chair, placed his cap of office on the table, and ran a handkerchief over his small, bald crown, and announced that the hearing would now begin. The journalists had their fountain pens ready. They all wore the same expression of slightly ironical indifference, with the exception of one, a much younger man than his colleagues in gray flannels with a blue tie, leaving his pen on the table, was gazing hard at me. He had a plain, rather chunky face. What held my attention were his eyes, very pale, clear eyes, riveted on me. Though not betraying any definite emotion, for a moment I had an odd impression, as if I were being scrutinized by myself. That, and the fact that I was unfamiliar with court procedure, may explain why I didn't follow very well the opening phases. The drawing of lots for the jury, the various questions put the presiding judge to the prosecutor, the foreman of the jury, and my counsel. Each time he spoke, all the jury's heads swung around together toward the bench. Then the hurried reading of the charge sheet, in the course of which I recognized some familiar names of people and places. Then some supplementary questions put to my lawyer. Next, the judge announced that the court would call over the witness list. Some of the names read out by the clerk rather surprised me. From amongst the crowd, which until now I had seen as a mere blur of faces, rose one after the other. Raymond, Mason, Salamano, the doorkeeper from the home, Old Paris, and Marie, who gave me a little nervous wave of her hand before following up the others out by a side door. I was thinking how strange it was that I hadn't noticed any of them before when I heard the last name called, that of Celeste. As he rose, I noticed beside him the quaint little woman with a mannish coat and brisk, decided air, who had shared my table at the restaurant. She had her eyes fixed on me, I noticed, but I hadn't time to wonder about her. The judge had started speaking again. He said that the trial proper was about to begin, and he needed hardly say that they expected the public to refrain from any demonstration whatsoever. He explained that he was there to supervise the proceedings as a sort of umpire, and he would take a scrupulously impartial view of the case. The verdict of the jury would be interpreted by him in the spirit of justice. Finally, at the least sign of disturbance, he would have the court cleared. The day was stoking up. Some of the public were fanning themselves with newspapers, and there was a constant hustle of crumpled paper. On a sign from the presiding judge, the clerk of the court brought 3 fans of plaited straw, which the 3 judges promptly put in action. My examination began at once. The judge questioned me quite calmly, and even, I thought, with a hint of cordiality. For the 9th time, I was asked to give particulars of my identity, and though heartily sick of this formality, I realized that it was natural enough. After all, it would be a shocking thing for the court to be trying the wrong man. The judge then launched into an account of what I'd done, stopping after every 2 or 3 sentences to ask me, "Is that correct?" To which I always replied, "Yes, sir." As my lawyer had advised me, it was long business, as the judge lingered on each detail. Meanwhile, the journalist scribed busily away, but I was sometimes conscious of the eye of the youngest fixed on me. Also those of the queer little robot woman. The jurymen, however, were all gazing on the red-robed judge, and I was again reminded of the row of passengers on one side of a train. Presently, he gave me a slight cough, turned some pages of his file, still fanning his face, and addressed me gravely. He now proposed, he said, to trench on certain matters which on superficial view might seem foreign to the case, but actually were highly relevant. I guessed that he was going to talk about murder, and at that same moment I realized how odious I would find this. His first question was, why had I sent my mother to an institution? I replied that the reason was simple. I hadn't enough money to see that she was properly looked after at home. Then he asked if the parting hadn't caused me distress. I explained that neither mother nor I expect much of one another, or for that matter of anybody else, so both of us had got used to the new conditions easily enough. The judge then said that he had no wish to proceed the point, and asked the prosecutor if he could think of any more questions that should be put to me at this stage. The prosecutor, who had his back half turned to me, said, without looking in my direction, that, subject to his honor's approval, he would like to know if I'd gone back to the stream with the intention of killing the Arab. I said, no. In that case, why had I taken a revolver with me? And why go back precisely to that spot? I said it was a matter of pure chance. The prosecutor then observed in a nasty tone, "Very good, that will be all for the present." I couldn't quite follow what came next. Anyhow, after some palavering among the bench, the prosecutor and my counsel, the presiding judge, announced that the court would now rise. There was an adjournment till the afternoon, when evidence would be taken. Almost before I knew what was happening, I was rushed out to the prison van, which drove me back, and I was giving my midday meal. After a short time, just enough for me to realize how tired I was feeling, they came for me. I was back in the same room, confronting the same faces, and the whole thing started again. But the heat had meanwhile much increased, and by some miracle, pens had been procured for everyone. The jury, my lawyer, the prosecutor, and some of the journalists too. The young man and the robot woman were still in their places, but they were not penning themselves, and, as before, they never took their eyes off me. I wiped the sweat from my face, but I was barely conscious of where or who I was until I heard the warden of the home call to the witness box. When asked if my mother had complained about my conduct, he said yes, but that didn't mean much. Almost all the inmates of the home had grievances against the relative. The judge asked him to be more explicit, but did she reproach me with having her sent to the home? And he said yes, again, but this time he didn't qualify his answer. To another question, he replied that on the day of the funeral, he was somehow surprised by my calmness. Asked to explain what he meant by my calmness. The warden lowered his eyes and stared at his shoes for a moment. Then he explained that I hadn't wanted to see mother's body or shed a single tear, and that I'd left immediately after the funeral ended, without lingering at her grave. Another thing had surprised him. One of the undertaker's men told him that I didn't know my mother's age. There was a short silence. Then the judge asked me if he might take it that he was referring to the prisoner in the dock. The warden seemed puzzled by this, and the judge explained, "It's a formal question. I am bound to put it." The prosecutor was then asked if he had any questions to put, and he answered loudly, "Certainly not. I have all I want." His tone and the look of triumph on his face as he glanced at me were so marked that I felt as I hadn't felt for ages. I had a foolish desire to burst into tears. For the first time, I realized how all these people loathed me. After asking the jury and my lawyer if they had any questions, the judge heard the doorkeeper's evidence. On stepping into the box, the man threw a glance at me, then looked away, replying to the questions. He said that I declined to see mother's body, I'd smoked cigarettes and slept and drunk café au lait. It was then I felt a sort of wave of indignation spreading through the courtroom, and for the first time I understood that I was guilty. They got the doorkeeper to repeat what he had said about me, the coffee, and my smoking. The prosecutor turned to me again with a gloating look in his eyes. My counsel asked the doorkeeper if he too hadn't smoked, but the prosecutor took strong exception to this. "I'd like to know," he cried indignantly, "who is on trial in this court? Or does my friend think that by aspersing a witness for the prosecution he will take the evidence and the abundant cogent evidence against this client?" Nonetheless, the judge told the doorkeeper to answer the question. The old fellow fidgeted a bit. "Well, I know I didn't ought to have done it," he mumbled, "but I did take a cigarette from the young gentleman when he offered it, just out of politeness." The judge asked me if I had any comment to make. "None," I said, "except that the witness is quite right. It's true I offered him a cigarette." The doorkeeper looked at me with surprise and a sort of gratitude. Then, after hemming and hawing for a bit, he volunteered the statement that it was he who would suggest I should have some coffee. My lawyer was exultant. "The jury will appreciate," he said, "the importance of this admission." The prosecutor, however, was promptly on his feet again. "Quite so," he boomed above our heads. "The jury will appreciate it, and they will draw the conclusion that through a third party might inadvertently offer him a cup of coffee, the prisoner in common decency should have refused it, if only out of respect for the dead body of the poor woman who had brought him into the world." After which the doorkeeper went back to his seat. When Thomas Paris was called, a court officer had to help him to the box. Paris stated that though he had been a great friend of my mother, he had met me once only, on the day of the funeral. Asked how I had behaved that day, he said, "Well, I was most upset, far too much upset to notice things. My grief sort of blinded me. I think it had been a great shock, my dear friend's death. In fact, I fainted during the funeral, so I didn't hardly notice the young gentleman at all." Prosecutor asked him to tell the court if he'd seen me weep, and when Paris answered no, added emphatically, I trust the jury will take note of this reply. My lawyer rose at once and asked Paris in a tone that seemed to me needlessly aggressive. Now, think well, my man. Can you swear you saw he didn't shed a tear? Paris answered no. At this, some people tittered, and my lawyer, pushing back one sleeve of his gown, said sternly, that is typical of the way this case is being conducted. No attempt is being made to elicit the true fact. The prosecutor ignored the remark. He was making dabs with his pencil on the cover of his brief, seemingly quite indifferent. There was a break of 5 minutes, during which my lawyer told me that the case was going very well indeed. Then Celeste was called. He was announced as a witness for the defense. The defense meant me. Now and again, Celeste threw me a glance. He kept squeezing his Panama hat between his hands as he gave evidence. He was in his best suit, the one he wore when sometimes of a Sunday he went with me to the races, but evidently he had been able to get his collar on. The top of his shirt, I noticed, was secured only by a brass stud. Asked if I was one of his customers, he said yes, and a friend as well. Asked me to state his opinion of me, and he said I was alright. And told to explain what he meant by that, he implied that everyone knew what that meant. Was I a secretive sort of man? No, he answered. I shouldn't call him that, but he isn't one to waste his breath like a lot of folks. The prosecutor asked him if I always settled my monthly bill at this restaurant when he presented it. Celeste laughed. Oh, he paid on the mail, all right, but the bills were just details, like between him and me. Then he asked to say what he thought about the crime. He placed his hand on the rail and the box, of the box, and one could see he had a speech already. To my mind, it was just an accident, or a stroke of bad luck, if you prefer, and a thing like that takes you off your guard. He wanted to continue, but the judge cut him short. Quite so, that's all, thank you. For a bit, Celeste seemed flabbergasted. Then he explained that he hadn't finished what he wanted to say. They told him to continue, but to make it brief. He only repeated that it was just an accident. That, as it may be, the judge observed, that what we are here for is to try such accidents according to law. You can stand down. Celeste turned and gazed at me. His eyes were moist and his lips trembling. It was exactly as he said. Well, I've done my best for you, old man. I'm afraid it hasn't helped much. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything or make any movement, but for the first time in my life, I wanted to kiss a man. The judge repeated his order to stand down, and Celeste returned to his place among the crowd. During the rest of the hearing, he remained there leaning forward, elbows on knees and his Panama between his hands, not missing a word of the proceedings. It was Marie's turn next. She had a hat on and still looked quite pretty, though I much prefer her with her hair free. I had glimpses of the soft curve of her breast, and her underlip had little pout that always fascinated me. She appeared very nervous. The first question was, how long had she known me? Since the time when she was in our office, she replied. Then the judge asked her what were the relations between us, and she said she was my girlfriend. Answering another question, she admitted promising to marry me. The prosecutor, who had been studying a document in front of him, asked rather sharply when our liaison had begun. She gave the date. He then observed with a would-be casual air that apparently she meant the day following my mother's funeral. After letting this sink in, he remarked in a slightly ironic tone that obviously this was a delicate topic, and he could enter into the young lady's feelings, but here his voice grew sterner. His duty obliged him to waive considerations of delicacy. After making this announcement, he asked Marie to give a full account of our doings on the day when I had intercourse with her for the first time. Marie wouldn't answer at first, but the prosecutor insisted, and then she told him that we had met at the baths, gone together to the pictures, and then to my place. He then informed the court that as a result of certain statements made by Marie at the proceedings before the magistrate, he had studied the movie programs of that date, and turning to Marie, asked her to name the film that we had gone to see. In a very low voice, she said it was a picture with Fernandel in it. By the time she had finished, the courtroom was so still you could have heard a pin drop. Looking very grave, the prosecutor drew himself to his full height, and pointing at me, said in such a tone that I could have sworn he was genuinely moved. Gentlemen of the jury, I would have you note that on the next day after his mother's funeral, that man was visiting the swimming pool, starting a liaison with a girl and going to see a comic film. That is all I wish to say. When he sat down, there was the same dead silence. Then all of a sudden Marie burst into tears. He got it all wrong, she said. It wasn't a bit like that really. He'd bully her into saying the opposite of what she meant. She knew me very well, and she was sure I hadn't done anything really wrong, and so on. At a sign from the presiding judge, one of the court officers led her away, and the hearing continued. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have consumed all the 17 pages we have collected on our mirror dungeon today. We are at page 55. There was another sentence here, but it bleeds into the next page, so I'm going to stop here. Let me just... here we go. Look at this man. This is the man that goes to court for his judgment for a murder, and look at his girlfriend and look at her breath. In any case, with our mirror dungeon complete and our book reading also complete, that is it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for hanging around, watching today's ID study and the book reading. If you enjoyed the stream, please recommend it to your friends, but if you did not, please recommend it to your enemies. Now, if you really like it and would like to give some support here to the channel, please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, a follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. It helps like you wouldn't believe, and it keeps the algorithm pleased. With all that said, once again, thank you, and sweet kisses, and goodbye.